Warriors win. 121-116. It was ugly at the end. We got a ton to talk about. Size in the house. We're going to play his open.
Our open. Us.
Either way, let it rip.
Woo! Let's go. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Krug Show in the house. And Golden State. What's up, brother? How you doing?
And away we go. Warriors win. Jimmy Butler at 38. And the Golden State Warriors lock up the playoffs. They had this game and then one more game if they needed it to move on, but they move on with the win. And it wasn't like the kind of win that makes you go, wow. It was more like a whew, kind of a all right, got that box checked. But we got a lot to talk to, to talk about with you. And of course, let's get the chat rolling and see what people have to say. Who gets your game ball? Of course, the Krug Show brought to you always by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. So thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. I don't have my sponsor list in front of me, so if you see me out, I know, seriously.
Good luck, man. I'm rooting for you.
I will thank our other sponsors a little bit later on in the show.
What, do you want me to run through my sponsors while you dig up your list?
You know what? This is not your first rodeo.
No, sir. Well, Larry, I don't know if we've done a show since I brought on this new sponsor, and that's Decades. And Larry, if you don't mind approving my screen sharing so that he bounced. Well, we'll share the screen in just a second. Decades is a band. They're not just any band, folks. I'm guessing if you're watching this stream and you're part of the Krug Show, you're a San Francisco 49ers fan. And Decades, the band, literally is at every 49ers home game playing the Red Zone rallies next door at Great America. They're a NorCal band, originally from Chico. They're Golden Dazers. They love the Warriors. They love the Niners. And they're available for your event, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a company event, whether it's an anniversary, a fundraiser, a birthday, or even just a good old-fashioned backyard rager. Decades has you covered. They play music from Chuck Berry to Katy Perry, who's going to be in the Bay Area here soon. Everything from the 50s to today. Music for all age groups. And if you want to book this incredible band, simply email Kyle@atomicmusicgroup.com. Again, Kyle@atomicmusicgroup.com, or visit decadesofficial.com. That's the website for more information. I check out their YouTube page regularly just to listen to their music. That's how entertaining and fun they are. So check out Decades. They're a great band, and the website for them for more information, decadesofficial.com. Today's episode also brought to you by Visit Humboldt. It is paradise, and it's right in our backyard. If you call California home, just drive up a few hours north to the real Northern California. Check out national parks, state parks, breweries, the Steelhead Brewery. Thank me later on that one. Wineries, beaches, you name it, and they've got it. Visit Humboldt.com is the website for resources about hotels, things to do, or just shoot me a DM. I'm on Instagram at DogWild, Twitter at Surf Journalist. I called Humboldt home for 2 years, lived in Arcata while a student at Humboldt State University that they now call Cal Poly Humboldt. Never going to stop tripping out about that. Visit Humboldt.com, and Larry Kruger, I'm sure, has more sponsors to deliver for you.
Well, and we'll get to them as we go, but we got so many people who want to talk Warrior hoops, so we'll jump right in right here and
where's
talk
our panel?
about.
Where's our group? What's going on here? We're waiting on Fred. We're waiting, or Frank. I'm sorry. We're waiting on Dan. Right? Where are these? I haven't
invited. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
it might just be an intimate gathering. But either way, we're gonna have fun. The one thing. I'll say the one thing. When you throw a party, always worry about who's there, not who's not there.
Good point. That's a good point.
There you go.
Good
I
point.
mean, I don't have that much partying advice, but that would be my first partying advice is let's concentrate on the people that are here because people are piling into the room in record numbers. Every time I look up, we've got more and more people watching us.
Oh, yeah.
So if everybody in the chat right now and everybody listening could hit like and subscribe on both channels, that would be awesome. We would appreciate that. And it's a real easy thing to do. And if we do that, we're going to have 4,000 people in the room here for this post-game show, which I'm really fired up about. Let's talk a little bit about this game for a second. First of all, Golden State 21-7 now since the break. So that's great to hear. I mean, that's music to my ears. That's how good they've been. But to me, this game, a very interesting game. Memphis jumps out 11-2, 13-8 early in the first quarter. Before we go anywhere, what did you think of the lineup? The small lineup with Draymond, Butler, Moody, Pods, and Curry.
Well, this is the same starting five that Kerr has finally settled on. He had something like 37, 38 starting lineups this season. Had a hard time finding consistency with this group. And then finally, he found a five that he likes. Is it a five that I like? I mean, it's small. And they've been getting exposed lately. That starting five did not play well against the Clippers. They did not play well tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. But if there's anything to be grateful about, Larry, besides the fact that they have a starting lineup which has some issues, and tonight I think Brandon Podziemski is the player you're going to look at first and foremost for those issues in terms of why it's not effective. But I am relieved personally that we saw Guy Santos play, even if it was just 6 minutes or more specifically 5 minutes, 59 seconds, the energy he brings, the size he brings. He's a difference maker, man. He's a connector offensively, a high energy effort guy defensively. He can handle the ball, side note, former point guard, growing up playing in Brazil. And then maybe the player, though, that I think is most important, the player who tied for the team lead in net rating today, and that's Quentin Post, dude. Like, I feel like the moment he stepped off that court every time tonight, the Warriors struggled. And then when he came on, it was like things just kind of settled. And the spacing he brings, the size he provides, Larry, that's what stuck out to me the most. I mean, Jimmy Butler is going to be the headline grabber of this game, I think. Playoff Jimmy was in the house. He was on fire tonight. Free throws not included. Stephen Curry is Steph, one of the greatest ever. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like being another team looking at the Warriors and especially Steph and just thinking to yourself, how the hell do we stop that? He's so fast, so explosive. The turnovers came down tonight. He had 8 against the Clippers, just 1 tonight to go to 37 points. But Jimmy Butler's 38, is what's going to stick out, I think, and rightfully so. He was fantastic, but do not sleep on Quentin Post. That's my immediate reaction. How about you, brother?
Well, I mean, Quentin Post, it's Quentin Post, not just the forgotten guy today. I mean, Quentin Post is the forgotten guy when we talk about this season. Everybody always talks about, well, their record since getting Jimmy, but it's also right about coincides with the time where Post was really starting to blast off, and he is just so good. And he you know what I would say, the compliment, if he was sitting here or if we were sitting in a bar and all of a sudden he walked in and we bought him a drink and when he's sitting there drinking a beer, I'd be like, dude, you know what I love about your game? You're not afraid. You don't play afraid. Most young big guys play afraid. Heck, Moses Moody's like in his 4th year. He still sometimes plays kind of tentative, a little, it's hard to kind of let it go. But Quentin Post, as a really young player and a big man, is a competitor, and he'll scrap, man. He'll get on the floor. How about when he got on the floor tonight? I mean, he's just a really talented big man who shoots with range. But you know what he's really great at? He's a super competitor. I thought when I first saw him, I thought, he reminds me a little bit of Lambeer in that he can really shoot the ball. He's got a real effortless kind of always straight up and down, no drift at all on his shot. He's got great range, but then he's also a battler. I know Lambeer always, we think of Lambeer for fighting and being an instigator and that kind of thing, but he actually was a great competitor too, which is how they won the titles. And a guy who could shoot the outside ball really well. and do some dirty work. And this guy can do all of that. I mean, whoever scouted Quentin Post, that guy deserves a raise.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. I mean, that's who gets the credit, and he deserves it.
Way to go. I mean, way to go, Dunleavy, because where was he again? Where did Quentin Post play?
So Quentin Post, first of all, he's not as young as people may think. He's 25 years old. Which again, for a rookie is not exactly a baby, but he played 4 years at Boston College. And then I think because he's Finnish, is he Danish or Finnish? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure both those countries have a military service as a requirement for being a citizen. So I believe he followed the path of Lauri Markkanen, where I think, do correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm guessing that because of the 25, him being older than usual for a rookie. But I want to say, Larry, I also want to say this, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, but at least I'm not here to say popular things. I'm here to say accurate things. And from my perspective, and tonight, look, the Warriors won, and this was a borderline must win because the worst case scenario I thought was them losing this game and then facing Dallas at home, where Klay Thompson and Anthony Davis were going to show up. That would have been an absolute nightmare. I don't know what other adjective to use for that. With that said, they won tonight. I'm not impressed, dude. This is not a Memphis Grizzlies team that should be keeping things close like this. This is not a Memphis Grizzlies team that is serious. And the Warriors, again, barely escaping. I mean, do not pretend that this game was literally up for grabs until the final buzzer sounded. They did not cover the spread for good reason. These rotations still stink. And I don't know whether or not now's the time to say this, but I'll say it. They're not beating the Houston Rockets in the next round of the playoffs if these rotations stay the way they are. They're not beating. Houston is a whole different beast than this Memphis Grizzlies team. And if Steve Kerr thinks that continuing to give minutes to guys like GP2, Podziemski over Kuminga is going to work against Houston, I've got a Blockbuster store to sell you, man. That ain't going to work. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Warriors maybe won the battle, but the theme may be that they're losing the war for sure, because you can't, if you're not going to bring Kuminga along, you're not going to go very far. So that's kind of their reality. And if he's stubborn, he wants to go his guys. He got the win tonight. I'm rooting for him, but I mean, Steve, get Kuminga going. Otherwise, you guys are going home.
It's crazy.
In this game, though, back to this game for a second, because I thought this game was interesting from the standpoint of Memphis comes out, they look really good. And then I kind of felt like the Warriors, led by Draymond and GP2, believe it or not, kind of put the clamps down. I thought the defense kind of ramped up, and Memphis was like 1 for 10 in like a 5-minute stretch of the first. And then Golden State gets this nice run, 20-2 run in the first quarter. They go up. But then right at the end of the first quarter, and the Warriors have done this a lot, Memphis, they kind of just shut off the energy at the end of the first quarter. Memphis goes on a 7-0 run. Kennard hits the 3-pointer at the buzzer. And so, the Golden State had come back and had, it should have been like 31-20. Instead, with the Warriors with an 11-point lead, instead it was 31-25. Because they kind of, if you watch that end of the first half, kind of low energy. Didn't seem like anybody wanted to defend Kennard on the shot.
Yeah, the Kennard buzzer beater made it way closer than it should have been. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think, and then, I agree. I mean, you a lot of minutes for Podziemski. Podziemski, you could see shot wasn't going to be there because he just seemed nervous or ramped up. He just didn't look like, he was ready to shoot the ball tonight. But give the Warriors credit, because they turned Memphis over 9 times, before like the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. So Memphis had a lot of early turnovers. I totally agree with you on Santos. I mean, that offensive rebound 3-point play that, gave Golden State a huge lift, I thought. And then it was a big play in the game because Bane picked up his third foul with like 8.5 minutes left or whatever it was.
I love Guy, dude. His stat line, again, he's not a player where the box score will reflect his contributions, right? And tonight, I think, was a good example of that. 3 points, just 1 bucket made. But the stat that sticks out to me, Larry, with Guy Santos, whereas one of our audience members once infamously called him Gooey Santos, and so I'm rolling with that. Gooey, in 5 minutes, 59 seconds of play, 3 offensive rebounds. And such a random stat, but those were huge, brother. You called that out. I love
Fought
Gee,
for him,
man.
too. I mean, I love his energy. You're right. It's contagious, and he's good.
Yeah.
He's a good vibes guy. I mean, and he's got some. He's one of those guys that there was like pickup games in the summer. He's probably going for like 45 and has all kinds of game. But in the NBA, he's like this, hustle guy, rebound guy, But he's probably really raw if you played him.
Well, this summer he was an Olympian, actually. I almost forgot about that. He played for Team Brazil. So,
I mean, the energy is off the charts.
Yeah.
And he always makes the right play. He's got good vision. He'll pass the ball. He's smart. I mean, that was a really nice get for whoever scouted him. How about the Moses Moody savage dunk on the break?
And his defense. I love Moses Moody. Sorry. But yeah.
Moses Moody. One thing I noticed in this game where the Grizzlies were giving Butler a lot of space to operate. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. And he kind of torched him. It was almost like they challenged Jimmy Butler, and he stepped up, man. He was huge. He had a couple open threes. He went to the rim. First, like 10 minutes out there, he had like 16 points. It was like they were almost like daring Jimmy Butler to take it over, and he did.
Well, they are. I mean, you look at the way defenses face the Warriors, and the strategy is usually very simple. Double team, maybe even triple team Steph Curry, and just let other people beat you. Jimmy Butler is not a notorious three-point shooter, but I thought what we saw tonight was the next level of aggressiveness that I think a lot of people have been waiting for to see from Jimmy. And I don't know if he does this by design. I have no idea if it's intentional. Stephen Curry, by intention, monitors his aggression levels and his energy levels, right? Like, well, if you're a Warriors fan, you've heard the old adage, like April Steph, right? Stephen Curry in the month of April is on fire because he starts ramping it up. He starts kind of letting loose and going all out in terms of effort. Jimmy Butler, again, when the playoffs start, it's just a whole different story. I need to pull up his stats right now just to see how he comps in terms of regular season versus postseason, because something tells me those stats are very different. But that's how defense is played, man. They'll double and triple team Steph. They'll force the Warriors' other players to deliver. And it's why I have a huge gripe personally with benching DNPing your third leading scorer. I don't get it, man. But anyways, yeah, I agree with you. Jimmy Butler was fantastic today, dude. He's why they won.
I mean, absolutely. If you've scouted this Warrior team at all, it's like play Jimmy Butler and Curry at this point with this starting five to score, and dare Green, Moody, and Podziemski to shoot the ball under pressure. That's the play. Make those guys shoot the ball under pressure. Podziemski was 1 for 7. Green was 1 for 5. They were combined 1 for 8 from 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Podziemski, what would you say you do? I mean, you didn't shoot a free throw. You took 5 threes, missed 4 of them. Took 7 shots, missed 6 of them. In 28 minutes, I don't know. I mean,
not good.
It's not good. 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 points. So he was disappointing. And sometimes I wonder, I like what I saw in the regular season, but when things get dialed up in the playoffs, can he even get a shot off? It seems like he's somewhat easily snuffed out, but he's getting minutes. In this game, they leaned on Butler and Curry, but they're going to need to lean on the other guys, and they're going to need to have more than just. I mean, Quentin Post can have to go for double figures, and Gary Payton. I thought this was a good game for Gary Payton, but they're going to need Buddy Hield to give them some points. If they're going to win games consistently in the playoffs, they're going to have to get some points from somebody.
Yes.
And like Looney, no. Santos, I mean, maybe, but I don't think you can depend on that. He doesn't really. Post is a young guy, but I think you need to get points from him. Tonight, you got double digits from Payton, but I think Hield is the guy that's got to give you some points.
And he's so streaky. You can't trust it. You're right. They desperately need his contributions, but he's such a streaky shooter. You have no idea which version of Buddy Hield you're going to get on a night-by-night basis. He gets routine open looks that just clank and brick. Everything that Kings fans, Sixers fans, Pacers fans warned us about came to fruition this season. I mean, I will say this, at least Buddy's minutes were down tonight. Normally, like I expect Kerr to play him 20, 25 minutes a night. He played 12 minutes, six seconds. But yeah, 0 of 3 from deep. The Warriors as a team shooting 34.9% from deep, which is not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. And again, you mentioned all the clankers tonight. Draymond, who's reverted back to form this season as a 3-point shooter, finished the year, I think, shooting 31% from deep. Moses Moody's threes were not falling. The one he made was clutch, but he was 1 for 4. Brandon Pajemski, you mentioned, 1 for 6. He's crashed back down to earth as a 3-point shooter. Buddy Hield 0 of 3. Guy Santos had the 1 3-point attempt. Gary Payton II, yes, he had a good game tonight. And again, I never take pleasure criticizing him. Look at Barry a baller. I didn't know. Look at that.
Look who's in the house, man. Look who's in the house.
Yeah, look
What's
at that.
up,
Good to see you, brother.
Bay Area baller with a Warrior jacket. How you doing, Bay Area baller?
Representing, yes.
Hey, I'm pumped up. I saw the email come through and I said, you know what? I got to get on. It's playoff time. Dubs clinched. I mean, talk about a nail biter, fellas. I mean, I don't got much nails to chew off after that one. But hey, coming into this game, I tweeted out that Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, they were the X factors, right? If they played well, Warriors would win. If they didn't, I thought they would lose. Well, guess what? Neither guy played well. Like you said, Cy, they were 2 for 9 from 3-point range, and the Warriors still found a way to get it done on the back of Jimmy Buckets, Steph Curry. And tonight, there was something off with the offense. I thought there was just a lot of Jimmy and let him go to work. Right. And it worked for the most part.
It's effective.
So
yeah.
They kept going back to the well. Jimmy drew a bunch of free throws, but I mean, it was Steph Curry, it was Jimmy Butler, and a couple key contributions. I was listening to you guys. Quentin Post, Gary Payton also contributed. But really, man, hey, when you're superstar,
I know you're looking at the box score, Eric, for Moses Moody, but I thought if you take away the 1 for 4 shooting from deep, he had a great night. Like I thought he still had a good game. He did shoot 4 of 7 from the field, and when you take away those threes, he was perfect shooting from inside the 3-point line. But you're right, the 9 points, it's not blowing people away. This again, the stats
I thought he passed up a couple shots. I thought he passed up a couple where he could have let it fly. And I know Kerr even told him, he's like, Moses, you got to shoot that. One time they panned to Steve. So Moses, I really thought he was playing so well, during that middle stretch of the season. I felt like the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks, he's kind of tailed off a little bit. But hey, coming up with this Houston series, we're going to need Moses to get back to knocking down that shot, because he was so consistent knocking down his open threes. I feel like it's kind of tabled off here, but you know how shooting comes and goes in waves, and you're hoping this next playoff series. And let me tell you something, Houston, I guarantee you, Houston, the fans, the team, they were pulling for Memphis tonight. They didn't want to see these dubs. They don't want to see these. How many times do these Warriors end the Houston Rockets seasons? And fellas, I think it's coming up again here.
Let me ask you this, Eric, real fast. If Kuminga doesn't play in that Rocket series, do you still feel good about it?
I do. I know me and Cy, we like some JK, but ever since he's returned from the ankle injury, he hasn't been as effective. And you see it with Kerr's rotations. Kerr doesn't think he's been as effective. So I'm siding with Steve on this one.
I can't believe I'm hearing that, Eric.
Yeah, wait, you didn't think Kuminga looked good tonight in the minutes that he got? What minutes? Oh, he didn't get any minutes.
By the way, real quick, I looked up Jimmy Butler's regular season versus postseason stats. Just Jimmy Butler as a 3-point shooter is so sporadic depending on the season. Like last year, or even this year with the Warriors, he shot 27.9% from 3 and was shooting 36 when he was with Miami. But last year, just a year ago, Jimmy Butler shot 41.4% from deep. And then 2 years before that, he shot 23.3% from deep. He is the most inconsistent 3-point shooter. For his career, Jimmy Butler shoots 32.8% from deep. In the postseason, that number goes up to 34.7. So a 2% change. And in his career, real fast here, regular season, he is a lifetime 18.3 points per game scorer. In the postseason, the number goes up to 21.3. So there you go.
That's interesting. You wonder too why, right? Is the guy lifting weights? Is he changing his workout? Is he not getting up as many shots? Is he getting up too many shots? Does he have an injury? I bet you if you walk through those stats with Jimmy, he'd probably tell you. I bet you there's a story behind the kind of the fluctuations you're seeing there of something.
Yes,
I don't know.
sir.
Who knows what?
And then he'll try to sell you his coffee.
I will say this though. I mean, they did get him for these moments, right? This is why, it's like, this is the guy that doesn't have a ring. This is his shot to, take over. Don't, be the alpha. This is a team that's surrounding him. They've got Steph and Draymond. They can still play, but they're kind of looking for Jimmy to kind of be the alpha in some ways. I mean, obviously Curry's the ultimate alpha especially when the way he's rolling, but, if they can be, here's the question I would have. Can the Warriors ride this kind of a thing to the finish? Or if not, who's going to step up? Because to me, like Draymond Green, I think has to be much more of an offensive player if the Warriors are going to move on. I know this is, Draymond's thought of as a defensive player. He's one of the best. He may be the DPOY. Can he score 15 a game? That's what it's going to take, I think. Green's going to have to chip in some serious points offensively. He's capable of doing it. I think Moses is going to have to become a much more assertive offensive player if he's going to start and get major minutes. It's like, dude, somebody needs to grab him and just shake him and be like, dude, you're the man. You're the guy. It's like, I realize you're a nice guy. Here, inject some swagger and go out there and kill people. If he had a little bit more of that scorer killer instinct, I think he gets along great on this group because he's kind of willing to kind of blend in. He's to me, he reminds me a little bit of Wiggins. He seems a little passive at times, but you know what? He's got it in him to be really skilled and take it over and produce points. So I think they're going to need points from Green. They're going to need points from Moody. They're going to need Pods to find some game within the high pressure environment of playoff basketball and make the adjustment quickly. And then they're going to need some points from Hield and Post off the bench. They're going to need some offense to get through.
Big time. Agreed.
Yeah, I'm doubling up on Brandon Pajemski because he was looking like a future all-star just, as short as 2 weeks ago. He was playing outstanding, knocking down the ball.
A small stretch. It was a small stretch, but I agreed. Yeah, he was.
It was like a 4-game stretch where he was putting up like 25 a game, knocking
crazy.
down 3 or 4 threes a night. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we found a new all-star. Can he be that?
He still might. Eric, he still might. He's so young. He's literally the youngest player on this team. He beats Kuminga by like 3 months. Dude, like that flash was so encouraging, I think, because that could be what he becomes on a consistent basis. Agreed. Yeah. But
are we going to see
Kuminga? Larry, do you want to get some of those?
Let's hit some supers. Are we gonna see Kuminga in the playoffs, or is this a short-term thing? Did Kerr address this in the post game? What's the plan here?
I'm trying to see if there's any sound available, and there is not. I'll let you know as soon as something gets posted here. But all I'll say about it is that I did see
Slater say that, in the pregame, it was like kind of understood that he wasn't going to play.
Yeah. What happened is Shams Charania reported 2 days ago that Kerr, if there's any bright side to all this, is that he is communicating to his players what's going to happen. And at least the last game, and I imagine this happening again tonight, he did communicate to Kuminga he's not going to play. Look, man, to me, this is over. Like Kuminga's not back or Kerr's not back. I don't see how this continues. This is not healthy. This is not productive. I'm of the opinion that, again, if the Warriors are serious in terms of title contention, he's got to be a part of this. He has to. I don't see how you can beat these athletic, bigger teams in 4 rounds over the next 2 months without his services. I don't think they beat Houston, man. A lot of people are pointing at Houston and saying inexperience is the huge advantage the Warriors have. Agreed, but at a certain point, talent does win out. Like the best team based on the best players usually wins out. high IQ has its value, but it has to accompany talent, not be in spite of it. And I just, it is crazy, dude. Somebody's going to ask him about it tonight, I'm sure. And, somebody asked Stephen Curry about it last game, and his response was, it was a very political answer. He basically said, you got to be ready after DNPs. And he's out of the rotation, man. And third leading scorer on the team, second in free throw attempts, make it make sense, because I can't.
It's so obvious that they should put Podziemski on the bench and, play Moody at the 2 and put Kuminga in the game. First of all, I know Podziemski though is a pretty good rebounder, and that block at the end I thought was clean. I know somebody said he may have gotten him on the wrist pretty good, but I thought it looked pretty clean. He got his body out of the way, and he got the ball. I thought that was a clean block. I don't know if you guys had a better angle, but Podziemski, I think, would be better off the bench. Moody at the 2 and Kuminga at the 3. Now, I know Kerr loves Podziemski, but the length and the athleticism of Kuminga and his ability to get easy buckets and finish inside. Come on. It's like you're not going to go with a big man, and you've got a 6'8" willowy athlete guy that you're just opting not to play. That's like, what are you trying to do this with, like an arm tied behind your back? You don't.
Feels like that. It feels like that a lot, Larry.
Really
with Kerr, with Steve Kerr coach teams, it feels like that a lot, where he's putting what he thinks is best. You see this team overcoming that stuff. This started for me back in 2018, Western Conference Finals, Warriors Rockets. It's a series that should not have gone 7 games. You have a team with Steph, Durant, Clay, Draymond Green, and all they had to do was give JaVale McGee, David West, Zaza Pachulia some damn minutes. And instead, JaVale McGee was DNP'd that entire series, except for 1 game. I think David West was DNP'd for all but 2 games. And then you had players like Swaggy P and Quinn Cook getting serious minutes, Jordan Bell getting serious minutes. So there's nothing new here. Kerr is stubborn. He plays who he thinks is best. And for a long time, he got away with it because this team had the best, literally, players in the NBA. Now you're a thinner team. Now you're an older team. You need some of these other players who actually have talent and size. And we'll find out what happens. But I'm telling you folks this, I don't miss often. I don't mean to be arrogant saying that, but I observed this team for a long time very closely. And I'm telling you this, man, they're not beating the Rockets without Kuminga. I don't think it's even that hard.
And it needs to be said. It's a somewhat unprecedented. You go find me another team that has this talented of a player DNP coach's decision in a playoff type atmosphere. Come on, man. Let's talk about the other guys who got the DNP designation. Braxton Key. Yeah, Braxton Key got a DNP. Kevin Knox got a DNP. Trace Jackson Davis got a DNP. And Pat Spencer got a DNP. And Jonathan Kuminga, the lottery pick. So basically, you're in Scrub City now because you were a lottery pick. It's just like, what a waste. It's like if you even had a notion, if Steve had, something, there better be a backstory that's pretty good, because if you even had any notion at all that this was possible, that your lottery pick young star who's going to want $200 million extension or more, that you were going to DNP coach's decision when he's totally healthy. If you knew that was a possibility, why wouldn't you? If you're Dunleavy, do you never talk to Kerr? Are you guys on separate phone lines? And what's going on? You can't have this valuable. Are you trying to win with Steph? Because part of like maximizing Steph was getting guys around him. But if Kerr knew that he wasn't going to play Kuminga, then you could have moved Kuminga for something really, really good.
Yes,
that could help you win now. So it's like, it's
crazy.
Seems like they didn't communicate, or they're maybe not on the same page on this roster, or how they view this roster. Or is it simply that Joe loves Kuminga, and whatever, it's all these little walls are up inside the Warrior. Joe loves Kuminga, but he's not going to tell Kerr how to coach. I don't know you tell me. You're Mr. Warrior. I mean,
Eric, you've been quiet.
why
I
is
want to hear
Kuminga
Eric.
not
Eric's
playing?
been quiet for a while.
None of
He
us
loves
should
Kerr.
be surprised by this, right? Because Kerr's been jostling around with Jonathan Kuminga ever since he got here. So it's like I'm used to it at this
But
point.
I thought we were over that. I thought that was like we're beyond that now, and he's going to just get. I mean, can't we acknowledge this guy is one of the biggest talents you have? And as we go further along in their careers, the older players are getting worse. The younger players should be getting better, and instead, that's not happening. The older players are getting worse, and the younger players are not getting better.
There's some things that frustrate me about JK. Yeah, he has all this talent. He gets stripped going to the rim too often for my liking. A couple too many brain.
Those are called
passes,
turnovers, Eric, and he doesn't average an unhealthy amount of turnovers. But go ahead.
I mean, he's got 1 point. I just looked at the last 10 games, which I know he hasn't played in the last 3 or 4, but he's averaged 1.4 in 18 minutes. That's not
with
great.
Turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, shooting 16% from distance.
That's bad. The turnover number is not. I'm not looking at it. I mean, that's not a ridiculous number. The 3-point shooting is bad. I agree. I wish there was communication. This is where I wish Steve Kerr actually coached. Like, why can't you talk to him and be like, look, LeBron James, it took him a long ass time to start hitting that 3-point shot. Giannis Antetokounmpo pretty much never figured it out, so he moved on. Why? I mean, I don't get why there is a considerable lack of effort in trying to develop this kid, right? Because I don't see any effort there. And when we hear everything about Kerr, who he is as a coach, very laid back, very player friendly. And this is who he is, man. He expects people to figure things out on their own. Not every player is wired like that. And Kuminga obviously needs a hand, or at least he needs some faith, and he needs minutes, clearly, I think. Larry, like I'm doing
what minutes?
Yep.
What? Why does he need minutes? I mean, he's I'm sure he's getting good rest, and I mean, he saw a really good game tonight, and he had great seats. He had fantastic seats. He sat courtside. I mean, that's
and
pretty
he got
good.
paid. And he got paid.
He got paid
to watch.
So maybe he's fine with it. Maybe it's good. Maybe all's good, and we're the only ones who are complaining.
Well, I got some, Larry. I'm writing a story right now that I thought would take me like 3 hours, and I'm now on day 3 of this because it's turned into like a massive, and it's going to be published soon. But it's turned into this massive story about what has been going on with this Warriors team pretty much since 2020, right? And I'm doing research, I'm doing interviews, and one thing that I was reminded of in doing all this research for this story, it's going to come out soon. It's going to be on Substack. Dogwild.substack.com. That's the website. Subscribe there. It's also going to be Golden Days' newsletter. But these are the quotes that I got from the story, because when we go back to that fascinate me, and I would love to know what you guys think, because when we go back to 2020, which to me is where it all really started to kind of get funky and weird, and Kerr went from being a coach that like was universally respected and you didn't really question him, 2018 aside, but they still won, right? So you don't exactly think about it that much at that point, given they won. But 2020, everyone loves to absolve Steve Kerr of the James Wiseman pick, right? Steve Kerr, I'm going to read you what he said about James Wiseman. Never mind the fact that he did a Zoom interview with Wiseman, Kerr by himself, went to Miami to see a private workout with James Wiseman, right? Flew all the way out there, worked with him, had a second visit. And so Kerr called James Wiseman his draft pick, all right? Called him his. I'm not making that up. And again, it's going to be in the story in just a second. Steve Kerr told Logan Murdoch, quote, "You just rarely see an athlete like James Wiseman. You rarely see a guy 7 feet tall who moves like that with that kind of coordination and hands and character. He was a leader in the clubhouse. And then it was a matter of really making sure we watched all the other guys and evaluated everybody. And the other guys were impressive too. I mean, LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards really stood out, obviously. I think the whole league has those 3 guys as the top 3. Everybody probably always says this, but I can tell you without hesitation, James Wiseman was the top guy all along," unquote. So do not pretend that Kerr is not having his hand in the pool when it comes to GMing, when it comes to scouting. That Wiseman pick was his as much as anybody. And then a year later, he gives up on him super fast. We all saw that. Just abandoned him 2.5 years later, a number 2 pick. The Kuminga part of it was almost entirely Draymond Green. I've reported this exclusively. Kerr wanted Josh Giddey. But I just want this to be like out there. Like Steve, like everyone pretends Steve Kerr is just the, the genius, the delicate genius who does not involve himself on the GM side. He's just coaching. No, he meddles big time with personnel. He was behind the Dennis Schroeder thing. He was very much involved in the James Wiseman thing. And I just don't respect him as a talent evaluator. That is my position. He got fired.
Okay, but I will say this, though. All coaches, I mean, an NBA team is an intimate traveling party. I mean, we're talking, I'll say this, Moses Moody knows the heck out of Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney knows the heck out of Tim Roy. Tim Roy knows the heck out of, whatever, Brandon Pajemski. These guys are traveling all over Timbuktu. They're on tarmacs. They're on flights together. They're everywhere. So it's like, I don't know. It's just there's
not in the offseason, though. This was all in the offseason during COVID.
No, I know. I'm just saying there's just,
it's some coach speak. I mean, it's your guy. You're not going to bash your new draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I think also more than anything, it's aligning with what the owner wants. Whatever. I mean, we all know Joe has an opinion, and I think Bob Myers' line of "we all know Joe loves big men" was at the final presser was Bob's way of saying Joe wanted Wiseman, and I'm sure Steve likes his job and said, hey, let's, probably I'll say this. I could have looked at Wiseman in a workout and thought, awesome. And this guy speaks Mandarin. You got to be kidding me. He's smart. He's huge. He's athletic. But, I got nervous early when I saw him, the way he shot the 3 ball and the way you could see how much it meant to him and everything. And he got all real stiff and slow. And I was like, oh my God, this is a big man who's in love with guard skills. And I wonder if he's just got guard mentality. And then he just had awful hands, balls clanking off his hands. And the
not
more
his
I
rookie
watched
year.
him,
Not his rookie year. HR brings that up. He didn't have the hands issue his rookie year. That's important to note because he wasn't damaged yet.
Either he was soft, or was bothered by the game. Something bothered him because he's a huge, massive body. I mean, he'll probably figure it out at some point. Who knows? Maybe he'll be back. I don't know. But he's another one of these resume guys. Have you noticed that there's a lot of people, wow, the resume is amazing. He's this, he's that. Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. On paper, it's like, oh, he's the best. But in reality, he's not so good. So there's sometimes you got the risk in taking James Wiseman is he played 3 college games. 3.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can't really evaluate anybody who played 3 college games. They were good. He was good in those 3 games, but I mean, it's 3 games.
But then at the same time, in this same process, again, if Kerr wasn't also bashing Anthony Edwards, I wouldn't care as much. But people have to bring up the 2 timeline thing and how it failed. My retort to that is Kerr was not the right coach for this. Kerr was great for inheriting a team that was on the cusp, took him over the top, forever grateful for that. But again, you don't make that Kevin Durant trade. He's not boasting about 4 championships. Maybe he gets 2 when all said and done. And the fact that he literally shat on Anthony Edwards is why, I'm just ready to move on. I think that's my ultimate point is this is not the right coach for this moment in Warriors history. And they're not going to beat Houston without Kuminga, man. I just, the way he's handling Kuminga just disappoints to no end.
I agree. Let's hit some supers. Julian Bashir, I've lost all excitement because of Kerr. Oh man, that sounds awful.
I feel him though, man. I feel him. I feel defeated.
No excitement at all.
I feel defeated watching the Warriors play with Kerr's fingerprints all over this. Because there's no way they're winning a title. So great. They made it to the first round. And I guess at this point, I don't want any good things happening that will convince Joe Lacob to keep Kerr after this year. I don't want that. That's just me. I don't know, but I feel him.
SRT in the house says not a JK fan, but he should have taken some minutes away from Pods tonight. Pods was floating around doing nothing. Yeah,
and complaining to the refs. It's like at some point, I want Pods to get back on defense and stop chirping at the refs.
Right. You're not a star. Play ball. Say when. Them refs out there looking like old Tim Donaghy. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, they were bad.
That's
it was both ways. I thought there were terrible calls on both sides, but the refs were awful tonight.
Awful.
Tim Donaghy was a rogue, isolated criminal who happened to call 3 other refs 700,000 times.
They were bad tonight, man. There were some egregious calls.
He was a rogue, isolated criminal. But he did call a bunch of refs a lot of times right about 7 o'clock. And it's kind of interesting how that worked. But they're all here, and he's gone. Tim Price. What's that? He gave us a he gave
some Aussie money. What's the A? I don't even know what the A means, but
I'm not sure. But
try again, Tim. Try again.
It's something. Thank you. And Tim's back. Will Steve Kerr play Kuminga against the Rockets?
I hope.
He's got to.
No.
I don't think he is either. I think he's
if he does, it's not going to be till like game 3 or 4, and that would have meant something went wrong game 1 and 2 for him to make a tweak. No, we're not going to see Kuminga. If we do, it's going to be game 3 or 4, or somebody gets banged up. Then he might find himself. But no, the Warriors were just in like 2 must-win situations, and Kerr side them for both.
Huge waste.
You
let me know what you think about
I didn't like the way he played after he came back from the injury. I mean, I know that, but I mean, come on, you can't figure out a role. You can't get this guy going at all. He's totally nothing. DNP.
Side note, for the folks who say that, and I feel you. Like a lot of people say, well, since Kuminga came back from the injury, things haven't been the same. The Warriors haven't been as good. But when we actually look at the track record of what they were doing since he came back, it's actually not bad. Like his first game back, he scores 18 points and the Warriors beat Sacramento by 26. And there's a lot of examples like that. I don't agree with that narrative that like he makes the team worst. And again, I'm not sitting here. They won tonight. That's great. Should not have been this close against the 8-seeded Grizzlies. They should not even have been in this situation to play on a Tuesday when that Clippers game was theirs. That's why some people like myself are not jumping for joy that the Warriors won a playing game tonight, because some of us had a bigger picture in mind, a championship, and that's pretty much out the window now. So that's why I'm not personally super excited about all this, but that's just me.
What do you think the best odds they had to win a championship during this?
I guaranteed it. I had a guarantee on the line, Larry. When the Warriors
championship,
when the Warriors beat Memphis, the Lakers, and the Nuggets back to back to back, that formula had me jumping with joy. I was elated, dude. Like
you could jump one time for joy on camera. I mean, could you?
No one wants to see that.
You're not feeling good. You're not feeling that. Okay.
No one wants to see that.
It would be a great internet moment. It'd be a great internet moment. We have to.
But then again, like the very after those 3 games, they play the Rockets, and in that Rockets game, that's where we saw Santos's minutes practically evaporated, Kuminga's minutes diminished, Quentin Post's minutes were diminished in that game. Moses Moody even had his minutes diminished that game. It's just I just don't think Kerr's a good coach, man. Or let me rephrase that. I think Kerr's good when it comes to schematics. I just have no faith in him when it comes to judging talent. I don't think he's good at that. And if he was good at that, he would still be the Suns GM. The dude traded Sean Marion for who? For Shaq? No one in Phoenix misses him because of that, dude. Like everyone in Phoenix who remembers the Steve Kerr era as their GM hated it. They were so happy he got fired from that job, man. There's a good reason for that.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, if he's got a gift, it's that he brings groups along and he keeps groups together. They don't fracture. He's, that kind of thing. But, it's pretty rare that you would have both the gift of coaching and personnel. I mean, Don Nelson, the reason it's funny, the Warriors are still benefiting off of Nelly. I know everybody thinks it's Larry Riley, but Larry Riley had Nelly look at the guards and said, draft Curry. And then Larry Riley was smart enough to listen to Nelly. But at that point, to listen to Nelly would be like listening to Jerry West. It's like, yeah, I think I'll listen to Jerry West. And Nelly at that point had discovered Sidney Moncrief, Terry Cummings, Mitch Richmond, Latrell Sprewell, you name it. So you were going to listen to Nelly by then. And he did, and drafted Steph Curry. And the Warriors have benefited ever since by surrounding Steph with some other good players. And Jerry West was part of that, accumulation of talent. But now it's like, they've made some good moves. I mean, I like Dunleavy. I think he's made some good moves, but I do question Kerr's ability to evaluate talent. And to me, Kerr is making the one crucial mistake. It's like, you can do what you want. You're the coach, but let's away from the arena, maybe during a week off, whatever, somewhere in this long, arduous, endless NBA season. I can't believe Dunleavy, Kerr, and Lakeup didn't get together and say, hey, look, we want to win a title. How can we best get there? And I guarantee you, if they were thinking about this, they would have to know that the young guys, Kuminga, Moody, and Podziemski, I was thinking TJD at the time as well, have got to give them something, and they've got to develop those guys to the point where those guys are playing at a pretty high level, and let Steph and Draymond and Jimmy Butler and everything kind of then add to their young cores. But instead, the young core is totally secondary. It's Steph, it's Draymond, it's Jimmy, and then like the young guys fit in around that. And man, if you're not fitting in well, Kuminga, sit down, and it's like they're not bringing them along, and I don't think they realize that, this is some freaking marathon, and you're not it's not like you got 3 more games left. You got to get this guy going. You can't not have this guy, and have any chance at all. They're doing the exact opposite of what they needed to do. They needed to figure out a way to get him rolling by the playoffs. Instead, he's DNP as we go into the playoffs. So they've totally effed that up. I mean, that is undeniable. I love Kerr, but I mean, anybody could see that Kuminga was kind of a wild card, and you had to get him going before the playoffs. And instead, he's totally at ground zero with no momentum at all. It's the worst possible conclusion. I mean, it's just
Can I propose a question to you guys? Because I want to know, do you think that Steph Curry and Draymond Green are going to Steve Kerr after these last couple games and saying, Steve, we need Jonathan Kuminga in the lineup? Is Steph Curry saying that? Is Draymond Green saying that? Because if they felt like Jonathan Kuminga was going to bolster this team as much as it sounds like you two think JK could change the direction of this team, then I think that they would go to Steve and say, hey, Steve, JK should be playing. So maybe they're not seeing it.
That's like, here's the thing. They've never done that. Like they have enough respect for Steve Kerr to not step on his toes. I mean, Eric, I'm guessing you've played, right? Sports in your life. I mean, most players, and I know the NBA professional sports is different, but in general, athletes don't question coaches, and to question a coach with regarding personnel decisions with minutes, I mean, that's borderline insubordination. And Steph and Dre are very they're professionals. I mean, even Dre, you see the antics he does in games, but behind the scenes, he's very professional. Dre did influence drafting Kuminga. Dre and Steph
and James Wiseman.
I've never heard the Wiseman part of it.
Draymond wanted Wiseman. He wanted some size.
I never read that or heard that. If you see that somewhere, great. But the Draymond thing with Kuminga specifically was because of Jared Jack. In case you folks forgot, Jared Jack, he played on the Warriors, was a great mentor for Steph as well. He was on the 2013 team that upset the Nuggets, pushed San Antonio in the second round of 6 games. In Jared Jack's final season of his career, he played for the G League Ignite. His final year was Kuminga's first year, and they were teammates. And Jared Jack and Draymond Green are close friends. And so that's how that whole recommendation came about. Jared Jack told Draymond, this kid has talent. This kid has the dog in him, effusively praised him. And then Draymond agreed. He did his research, was like, yeah, you're right. And that's how that whole happened. I've never once heard a report or heard anything otherwise of players ever questioning Kerr in terms of like who to play when. So I don't know if that's something that it could happen, but I just don't know if it's in him to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're right, but I've never heard anything where regarding Steph and Dre taking steps to be like coaches themselves, right? I've never heard that, but
let's get through some of these supers here. They're piling up on us. OMG, Kuminga should play over GP2, but Curry wants GP2. Also, Kerr will not play Kuminga over a shooter, even Buddy. JK only gets minutes as a power forward. Yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, that's how they have him pigeonholed. But the thing about it is, this was your lottery pick, and it's like he's an incredible asset.
Well, and Larry,
and to
consecutive
you should have
seasons,
used him, or at this point, I mean, it's too late. It's like it's too far down the road. You should have had this guy, in a major role, or you should have moved him for guys that were in major roles. It's like having this guy would be having like a Pagini in the driveway that you don't drive. It's like, what? You've got a $315,000 sports car in your driveway. Why are you not driving it? Well,
And where's the accountability for a number 2 pick and a number 7 pick in back-to-back seasons, resulting in nothing?
Giving you nothing, yeah.
Nothing.
And that's
like, where's the accountability for that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how he escapes that repeatedly. It's
who?
Well, we shall see, though. I will. Let me read this quote to you real fast.
Who escapes that? Kerr?
Kerr, yes.
But
because
I mean,
as I
there's
just
a
read,
GM.
Kerr,
I mean, and there is an owner, and there is his own, and the owner's sons. I think that's part of the gig is that they're all together. So.
But here's a quote. Here's a quote that I do think is very interesting as well. And this was, again, part of my research I was doing, going back to 2020. Joe Lacob, when talking about James Wiseman and the fact that was a failed experiment. It was. I mean, he's gone. He's not on the team anymore. Number 2 pick turned into GP2, who was already on your team just the year before, and he traded for him. Joe
I like how that's an experiment. By the way, you're the 3rd freaking pick in the draft.
Second
pick in the draft.
But this
experiment, yes, it was an experiment on how to devalue your franchise and screw things up.
But this quote I thought was interesting because it makes me wonder if Lacob's going to put up with this any longer in the offseason. Regarding James Wiseman, just listen to this quote and let me know what you think. Quote, I think James Wiseman is a really good player, and we're not going to get many opportunities to draft a young guy like that again. This was before Kuminga, mind you. He really didn't have a chance. It's partially his fault, partially bad luck, partially our fault for not playing him enough. Your thoughts?
I mean, it's
this is the second time this is happening now. This is a second failed young player because you did not play him enough. This has been my gripe from the get-go. Part of me is wondering if maybe Joe Lacob's had enough. And maybe he'll take action this offseason. I could be wrong. I don't know. But
we'll see. I mean, you're dumping the Olympic coach, so there's going to be some criticism. OMG says, I wonder when Cy's neighbor is coming in to yell.
Do you want to hear the backstory on that? Do you want so?
I hope there's a backstory on that.
There is. It's an interesting one. So Sunday, was it Sunday? I'm finishing up a show. And it was like an hour and a half in. Rick Barry was already off. And all of a sudden, some lady starts screaming at me from outside my house. And my window's open this day because it was warm. And she starts yelling, shut up. Just over and over again. Shut the fuck up. And she's crass. Like she's I'm guessing she was drunk in hindsight. And I'm like, just looking at this going like, I'm doing a live show. And this lady's yelling.
Just yell out, hey, Karen, go away. Drop one of those on her.
She wasn't caring. So she starts trespassing on my property when I was yelling at her to F off. I'm like, dude, get out of here. Who the hell are you? And she starts trespassing.
Get out of here. By the way, don't trip on your way out.
She's going to my backyard. She's coming up my stairs, like just right next to my window. Yeah, so I had to call the cops on her, and the show ended early because of that. And it turns out, in hindsight, well, not hindsight, but it turns out that she has issues. Like there was a police standoff outside my home a few months ago. Literally woke up at 7 a.m, 10 police vehicles outside, guns drawn. I mean, there's microphones yelling, come out of the home with your hands up. Do not come out with your hands up. Just for hours. This was going on, man. I fell back asleep. I was like, I can't. And same neighbor. So she
needed more golden days. And
or she's a Steve Kerr fan and just hates my rhetoric.
Or she's a Kerr fan and she was coming for you. Julian Bashir, 12-5 versus the Rockets, December 5th. Kuminga went off 33 points, 3 of 6 from 3. There you go.
Keep bringing that, Julian. Keep bringing it. I want more of that.
4.5 months ago.
Tammy. Glad
Tommy.
for the Tommy. Tommy. Glad for the W. What is it? I gotta move this up. But PO'd this game was as close as it was. No home court advantage anymore. This team has to get bigger this offseason. No question. I was already looking at the NBA draft.net for the draft. It's definitely going to be a very projectable draft with lots and lots of players that have huge skill, but it's going to take deep dive scouting. I mean, this is another one of those. The globe is coming to the NBA, and there's a lot of guys whose games are really impressive, but nobody knows them. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very interesting this draft season to kind of put your arms around the draft class. But
by the way, if you don't mind sharing that what I posted down there, because that's a quote, Larry, that you and I love going back to for a very good reason. This is Bob Myers. You don't have to play the clip, but Bob Myers said. This was literally weeks before he resigned or fired, depending on how you want to label it. He was not welcomed back, and this is a huge reason why. Bob Myers said, quote, "It doesn't matter if he's 7 feet or 8 feet tall. Any buyout conversation has to be done in collaboration with the coaching staff, because why bring a player in if they're not going to use him?" Unquote. And this goes back to the discussion about a big. What the hell is the point of signing a big if Kerr's never going to play him? It's insane.
Well, I mean, maybe that does sound like it's directed towards Kerr, but supposedly Kerr and Myers were really, really tight. But
they still might be, but they just clearly like Kerr just doesn't have vision. Like, he's not a visionary, obviously. Like, he's all about just, what do you have in front of me right now? What can I work with? Okay, I'm going to use this. And that's his mentality. There's nothing about like, well, if I do this, it might help him 3 years from now. Like, there is none of that thought process going on with Steve Kerr, at least from what I've seen. But
Kuminga, HR says Kuminga plays well against Houston because Jalen was on his G League Ignite team. Kerr's failure to reintegrate JK greatly lowers their ceiling. Oh, yeah, it absolutely does. No question about that. Maxime, or was it Maxime Tremblay? I like that name. New league record. Scottie Pippen Jr. fouled out in the fourth with 27 fouls on Steph. Yeah, seriously, he was.
What are your thoughts? Somebody posted a video the other day that's making the rounds about why Stephen Curry gets unfavorable treatment. He certainly doesn't get the superstar whistle, and it's a theory I've been saying for years now. But this video is getting traction, which is that Steph is not a Nike guy. And this is the NBA being punitive toward a player who is not bringing them the type of money that Nike athletes bring. There's an old adage in journalism: follow the money to get your answers. And what are you guys' thoughts on that, man?
I mean, that would be the biggest scandal of all time.
Bigger than Donaghy?
The guy doesn't get calls in the game because of the shoe company he reps, and when he's already this global ambassador for your dying, uninteresting brand for the most part. Yeah, I mean, that would take balls. It would take balls for the league to ever sniff anything bad about, say, even anything in any way that offends Steph Curry or LeBron James at all. I mean, those guys right now have done more for this league than almost any two people in the last decade, and they continue to basically be the face of the league. So I don't know. I don't see. Something tells me the league will not be going after Steph Curry.
I'm not buying that, but I do think Steph's not a flopper. You know, he doesn't whip his neck back when he gets grabbed. You know, I think that would be more of my case for why he doesn't get the call, is he's not flopping. You know, he's not crying to the officials as much as a lot of these other stars.
The video does examine that. It literally examines every excuse and then quashes it. And again, who knows? But I've seen more effed up things happen in this world because of money. So who knows? But
G Code Travels Vlog POV says DNPs on Kuminga Will he walk in free agency? Might not be happy. I mean, they're going to
No.
figure out a way to move him, I'm sure.
I'm
He's a
thinking sign and
restricted free.
trade.
He's a restricted free agent this
not
offseason.
unrestricted.
Now, there's another avenue the Warriors could also take, and no one's talking about this, but it is an option, which is you exercise the 5th and final year of his rookie deal. You get him another season on a cheap contract. The risk of that is you lose him as an unrestricted free agent after the following season, but you do get him for another year. So I don't know, but he's a restricted free agent.
Here's the thing. All that's going to take is one bad moment in camp that goes public between Kerr and him, and suddenly everybody's going to know your predicament, and you'll have no leverage to get anything of fair value at the deadline. So, I mean, you got to play your cards. To me, being decisive was the play, and they're way beyond that. I mean, they have been so indecisive. So, but I mean, John Dickinson brought it up on KMBR the other day. Kind of an interesting trade. He said, how about Kuminga to the Kings for Keegan Murray and Valanciunas? And, I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, God, man, that's that you're getting rid of a better athlete than you're getting back, but you're getting a shooter in Keegan Murray and a legit big in Valanciunas, and for a guy that Kerr doesn't like anyway. I mean, that's a lot to get back for a guy that Kerr's DNP coach's decision. What do you think of that? I mean, as a move to try. I mean, they got a 2-year window here. They got this year, they got next year. That's what we're talking about.
Do they? Larry, hold on.
I think
Larry,
so.
A few months ago,
With
you were
Curry.
saying Steph and Dre and Jimmy are too old. Now you're saying there's a window?
Well, I'm saying it's a short window. It's this year, next year.
I don't even think I think they're done. This is why I'm so pissed, because I don't have faith in a 38-year-old Stephen Curry carrying this team to a championship, man. Like,
I thought
I
you
don't have
told
faith
me
in
that you were super pissed because you were afraid Ryan Leong would show up.
that too. I mean, God forbid that. Oh shit! And
Oh,
he's
there-
here.
look- and
Hey,
there he
Ryan,
is.
good to see you, brother. Great to
Look
see
at
you.
that. There he is. Ryan, can
There I
we
am.
read a couple of these
Yeah.
supers before you give us your breakdown? Because your breakdown is must see, and I got to get these supers off of the top of your face. So let me get these out of the way real quick. Here, let me just get these out of the way.
That's what she said.
Miguel R. Kerr needs to stop forcing Loon and Healed. Yeah. Seems like we do the Loon part. He loves Loon. SGA, Chardall in the house. Hi, ballers, Cy and Larry. How are you guys doing? We're gonna need more supers to answer that.
Larry, you're such a pro at when it comes to just the audience engagement in general. But Chardall, you're a master, sir.
I love Chardall from a distance every other year. SRT _ says Kerr has led this team to 6 finals. Jonathan Kuminga is in year 4 with the dreaded potential tag. If Kerr says we need to move JK for if Kerr stays, we need to move JK for a proven veteran. Yep, and pretty much. I think we're in agreement on that. Miguel R says Healed lowest IQ, Loon slow as fuck. What does it say? Cardio pods.
Cardio.
Kerr?
I guess he's a hustler. Hustler. I think that's a
I
reference to him being a hustler and how that's.
Kerr with what's the? This is like that's not.
This
good,
is
right?
Buddy Hield has a low IQ. Kevon Looney is slow. Brandon Pajemski is just all hustle. Like I think that's the gist he was saying.
Wainster in the house says
$20.
Dubs battle tested and a good team. With Curry and Butler, we will be a difficult out. Regarding Kuminga, Curry, Jimmy, and Dre likely don't want him in the game. Dubs over Rockets. Bring low turnover. We bring low turnovers, hustle, and energy.
Wainster, thank you. And look, I hope I'm wrong about Warriors Rockets if Kuminga gets DNP'd. I pray I'm wrong. But I don't see how they beat Houston if Kuminga's not a part of it. But
we're almost Ryan Leong bound. Oh no! Oh,
where'd he go?
He'll be back.
What?
He'll be back.
Oh,
and like that, he was gone. He'll be back. He'll be back. He's like a mold. It always regrows. I'm just joking, Ryan. Actually exploding says Edie versus the rim is a generational rivalry.
That's a good basketball topic. Zach Edey shouldn't like the Grizzlies messed up playing him as much as they did. Charles Barkley, who you don't watch normally for the analysis, you watch him more so for the humor, but his analysis was spot on tonight. He kept calling out the Grizzlies for playing Edey as much as they did because the Warriors were attacking him endlessly. He is awful defensively. He has very little foot speed. And the Warriors are feasting, man. And look, Edey got.
He had the best plus minus on the Grizzlies today. 17 boards. I know he missed some bunnies, and he wasn't. I'm not saying he was great, but I was surprised just looking at that.
Yeah.
Rye, you're back. Hold on a second. G Code Travels Vlog POV's got something he needs to say. Kerr and Shanahan, same mindset, not playing young players minus the O there.
Shanahan plays Brock Purdy. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. They both are in that category of successful coaches that Bay Area fans are getting tired of. G Code Travels Vlog POV. If the Warriors drafted Zach Edey, he wouldn't be playing.
Accurate.
Shaking my head.
Accurate.
Wainster back in the house. He said replay Spurs game. Kuminga in, no look to Curry. Curry looks to the bench, exasperated. Let's roll with who the big three want. Don't underestimate will to win.
My pushback on that, Wainster, is I know exactly the clip you're talking about. I am not fully sold that Stephen Curry was frustrated at Kuminga specifically. That's open to interpretation. Because I looked at that play and Steph just looked frustrated. Period. Like it was a hard game and they lost that game. Anyways, yeah.
On that note, we welcome in our Warriors correspondent, Ryan Leong, who did go to one of the greatest high schools in Northern California.
Yeah, you two both. SI, right?
St. Ignatius High School.
That's right.
Ryan, give us your thoughts on this one. Warriors get a win. It wasn't all that impressive.
No.
GP2 and Post were the first guys off the bench. Kuminga continues to dominate. And now, what did you think of the win?
Well, first of all, they needed it. I mean, they had a 3-game losing streak at home, and it would have been 4 had they lost this game, and they probably should have. They just got lucky. I mean, they really did. I mean, the one thing I noticed is that Steph was a little more like he was thinking out his shots a little bit more in this game. You know what I mean? He was like making sure he was set when he had some open threes, and he made sure that he got those shots to fall. In some of the previous games, I noticed he'd been rushing his shots, and this game was for sure like he was, you know what I mean? He was like measuring it up. He was making sure that these shots are going down. I'm going to make sure these shots go in. And I think that's part of it is because I think honestly he's a little tired, and secondly, he's got the experience and he knows he's a good shooter, but he also knows, I think, that he's the kind of player that at this stage in his career, he's just got to be a little bit more, use that experience to his advantage. Like Michael Jordan, and Jordan was in his 30s. He was doing that, right? He was his go-to shot was the fadeaway jumper. But again, he kind of just measured it out, kind of took his time, and that's why I think the Warriors actually got this win was because Steph was able to make some of those shots that he'd not been made previously.
Agreed. Good call. Good analysis, Ryan. There.
Do you guys, does everybody here know each other? By the way, I hate having parties where nobody knows each other. Up top is Cy. Everybody knows Cy.
Larry, there's nothing wrong with some strange every now and again.
Well, it's funny that you would say that. Anyway, great. Way to bring that up. Anyway, somebody mute Cy. In fact, that right there is mutable. I mean, that's Cy. You go to the penalty box. You're muted. I mean, at least for 30 seconds. Bring up the strange. I'm married. Baller's married. Baller just had a kid. Ryan someday has to be married.
Congrats,
someday.
brother.
Don't know when, but.
So there you go.
Ryan Leong is Clooney, man. He's never going to get married, or at least not until it's 65.
I tried to mute
Clooney got married.
I tried to mute Cy for a second there, but he has the ability to unmute himself. And he unmuted himself.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I mean, that's just not right. I mean, once you've been muted, you need to stay muted, and you have to abide by the rules of mute. But that's all right. Welcome back. All right, Ryan Leong, you're here. You're powerful. You know what you're talking about. Give us your breakdown, brother. What do you think? I mean, what do you see Warriors Rockets round 1?
I mean, the good news is they only cost themselves 1 day of rest, right? I mean, if they had beaten the Clippers, they would have been playing. No, because the game is coming up on Saturday. So it would have been 5 days of rest. Now it's 4 days of rest.
Good point.
So aside from playing an extra game, they got damn lucky. I mean, look at Memphis. As much as we want to talk about the Warriors kind of possibly choking away their season, Memphis was a 2 seed, and they're all the way back down to playing for the 8th seed now.
Yeah.
So
and they dumped their coach along the way.
Yeah, and you're exactly. They fired their coach along the way, and this new guy seems pretty cool. But yeah, that can't be good for continuity when you're firing your coach. Like with a week or so left in the season. That's just nuts. I mean, the Warriors. I will say this. I know there's a lot of talk about why Kuminga's not playing, but a lot of guys weren't playing. I mean, Guy Santos, just a touch under 6 minutes. So many guys benched. I mean, remember earlier in the season, Cy, that TJD was considered this revelation. Now this guy's riding the bench. I mean,
he just played like a week ago too, and contributed some positive minutes. I forgot which game that was, but yeah.
Why is he buried? I mean, why is he buried? He seems like it's a 4-year college player who knows how to play. He can work the baseline and finish at the rim. He's strong. He's a big body. Why is he banished to Siberia?
Right. But my biggest concern really is how long can these guys go with the minutes they're given? I mean, the one thing I'm sure Cyrus and I agree on, I don't know what the heck Buddy Hield's doing getting 12 minutes. I mean, that guy, he should be a victory cigar, in my opinion. He should be coming into a game when the game's decided. That's when he should be playing.
Wow.
Otherwise,
you're not a Buddy Hield guy.
Let's put it this way. I can see why he wore out his welcome in Sacramento and in Indiana. He just such a one-dimensional player. I mean, he's only 1 of 4 shooting tonight. He missed all of his threes. That's basically the only thing he's really good for.
He's always spoken highly of your reporting.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a really nice guy. He's probably one of the friendliest guys you're ever going to meet.
Okay, so it's not personal. You're saying it's not personal.
No. But I'm just saying for what he's giving you out there.
What's a little personal? Sound a little personal.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this, Larry. What's he giving you out there for the team? Other than maybe being a guy who's. I will say this. He has been the Cal Ripken of the Warriors this year. He's played in every single game. Only guy to do it. But I just don't see what
Now that's good knowledge, as Gary used to say.
That is good. Well, that is though. Yeah, I didn't know that. He's the Iron Man this year.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not going to take full credit. I listen to Tim Roy a lot. Tim Roy's always putting out some good nuggets on the air. He and Tom Tolbert do a great job. And so, I mean, of course, I have the game notes too, but listening to those guys is better than just trying to flip through the game notes and stuff because these guys are so seamless when they're on the radio together.
Tommy T.
Tim Roy especially, yeah. And that's the elevation sensation.
Yeah,
and he was fouled.
Yep.
Fouled.
But that's my biggest concern. That's my biggest takeaways. It's just these guys need the rest. I mean, they absolutely need the rest. 4 days off is going to be great. They'll pick it up, I guess, on Sunday, right? So, but I just hope that. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think of this one? Comment here from Amar Singh, who's a friend. He says Butler shows Kerr been correct all along about Kuminga.
He's your friend, for the record, Larry. Your friend.
I don't know if he's my friend. He's somebody's friend. He's a friend of somebody. He's here, and he's a friend of somebody. And if somebody needs to claim Amar Singh as a friend, damn
that's
it,
all you. I'll take shirt off. I'll take shirt off.
Amar Singh. Amar, I consider you my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just I just hope that they can just figure out a way to get the rest they need and get these guys back with somewhat, getting their energy back because they really grinded this one out and they've been doing that for the last, last 4 games.
Wainster's in the house. He says, "Hi, Cy." Can you say hi back to
Wainster? Hi, Wainster again. Yeah, Wainster's awesome, dude. He's like I can't thank him enough for the financial contributions, dude. He drops ducats and then some. Thank you, Wainster.
Have you sent him a tax form yet?
No, I don't have his contact information, but checks in the mail.
Not giving that kind of cash. Kuminga doesn't even look to weak side where Steph is at in the Spurs game. That will get you out of the rotation quicker than a road runner. There you go. If you don't look for the money man, you're not going to be around.
And again, I can't remember. Look, I know the play he's talking about. But there was something else going on in that specific possession that was also irritating Steph. He might be right, but I just remember I saw that clip as well, and it wasn't like a conclusive that JK did something dumb and it pissed Steph off. Like I didn't interpret it as a. By the way, Ryan, I got to give him credit, man, because that is a besides the great information, that is a good spin, and maybe spin's not the right word, a good positive way to look at it. That the Warriors only lost 1 day of rest. Like I thought it was 2 the whole time. That's it's not as bad as it seems. I mean, they did. Unfortunately, this game. I mean, the mileage matters. I think when you're talking about 37-year-olds,
it's the risk. It's the risk of the injury in any of these games in this game, right? You have to play the extra game. Oh, you lose somebody. Oh, you know what? Steph with the whatever sprain, he's out. Now it was just 1 game, but so it's the exposure, it's the risk,
right?
And
sure.
And they got through it. I mean, they got through it.
And the risk of playing the Thunder, because I think the Warriors would have lost that series if they ended up being the 8th seed. But I wanted to ask you guys, who would you have preferred to play? You know, who do you think the Warriors have an easier path against? Would it have been the Lakers or is it the Rockets?
It's probably the Rockets just because of the way Doncic is playing. Like, I think Luka Doncic really showed something when he played against the Mavs, and I think he's out to prove that he's not this lazy guy that the Mavs felt that that they gave up on. And I think he's got a lot to prove at this point. And the Lakers are a premium attraction. Not to say that the Rockets are not; they're the higher seeded team, but that's what I think. I just think that the Lakers being kind of the hotter team right now, you don't want to play them.
What do you think, Larry?
I think you'd rather play the Lakers than the Rockets. I mean, when you think about the Lakers and their ownage and their dominance over Golden State, a lot of that's Anthony Davis.
Correct.
And now isn't he with the Mavericks now? So that's
correct.
That makes the Lakers not as good. Now, obviously they have Luka, but the Warriors, Luka's a turnstile, and the Warriors have had success against Luka. They're more star driven now for sure, but and to me it's all about Reeves. You can't let Reeves go for 30, and he can go for 30.
Yes,
so you got to keep him somehow from exploding. But if you can keep Reeves in check, I'd rather take down the Lakers. Be careful what you wish for. This young Rockets team has a lot of talent. Sengun's an all-star. Jabari Smith can shoot the rock. They've got
Dylan Brooks is a menace.
I mean, Dylan
regardless
Brooks
of how you feel about him, he's a menace.
Well, in the last game against the Warriors,
and he's not even their best defender. Amen Thompson?
Amen Thompson, he's
awesome.
Yeah, Thompson is
the Rockets.
They got a lot of good young players.
Tari Eason,
actually, coach. The coach is tough, rugged. That's got him playing good defense. The Rockets I think the Rockets are going to be a tough series.
And I agree with you, Larry. Here's the thing. I almost think it's apples and oranges, though, because the Warriors haven't had any luck against the Lakers either. So I almost think it's like a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Either way, these are this is a tough matchup. No matter what.
Until the last game, and then the Warriors beat the Lakers. Like the unpopular opinion is that the Lakers are the easier out. I agree with Larry for this for a couple of reasons. Even though the odds makers would probably give the Warriors better odds against the Rockets than the Lakers are older, they're slower, they're worse defensively. And the one key edge that they did have that a lot of people brought up, which is LeBron and Luka Doncic being free throw merchants, they're masters at manipulating, officiating, and getting to the line. The Warriors have an answer to that now in Jimmy Butler. And that Warriors-Lakers game was a beautiful game. I was one of the highlights of the season, at least for me. But what's crazy is they get the Rockets now instead of the Lakers, but you could get the Lakers in the second round now. And I like that a lot too. Do you think the Lakers beat the Timberwolves, by the way? And Eric, what are your thoughts? I don't think we even heard what you prefer.
Fellas, I was waffling back and forth, and I ended up concluding that you might be able to expose the youth of the Rockets, maybe with some in-game adjustments, offensively kind of exploiting. I know they have some really good defenders, but maybe you can exploit Sengun a little bit. And speaking of Sengun, that's going to be Draymond's matchup, man. That's going to be a big-time matchup down low because they love to throw it down to Sengun and let him operate where he's got some skill and he's a good passer. But you and Larry, Cy, almost kind of convinced me that maybe I'm wrong for wanting the Rockets. But, hey, either way, man, it's playoff basketball, and I'm pumped up.
Who knows? Well, what do you guys think about the T-Wolves? Like, could the Warriors maybe face Minnesota in the second round?
Sure, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't rule out anything because the way these playoffs are set up and the way the Western Conference has been, I would not rule out anything. I mean, I sure, obviously, of course, the Lakers are favored, but you just never know.
Larry, what do you think, man? Lakers, T-Wolves.
You never know. I think you never really know.
Incredible analysis. I think we're done.
Hey, it's true though. Come on.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
that was
right. I mean, I can't go to my program director with "you never know." He's gonna say, "Hey, you're supposed to freaking know. I'm paying you 6 freaking figures to goddamn know it."
All right. Well, if they do pull the upset, then I could use that as an excuse. But if they don't, then obviously, yeah, I should have been more demonstrative than what I was. I was thinking.
I'm busting chops. The T-Wolves, I think, are scary, man. They really are. I mean, first of all, they got tremendous size. I mean, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert. I mean, and they've got they've got Nas. Yeah,
Daniels.
Nas is a star against the Warriors. They also have some kind of sleeper players that are really good, like Dante DiVincenzo. We kind of know he's pretty damn good. And then Edwards is a superstar. He's like the best player, and he can go for 40, and he can finish, and he can hang in the air, draw fouls, and finish with ease. And he's just a really powerful, explosive, closest I've seen to Jordan in some ways as a driver. He's just very powerful on his drives, and he creates separation. He can hang in the air and finish and draw fouls. I mean, he's just an awesome player. So they don't have anybody who can match him. So if they can't, and guys like Nas Reed play so big against the Warriors.
Yeah.
So that's that. I don't know what to say there. The length and the size of the T-Wolves and the star, the greatest star in the series at this point is not Steph. It's Edwards because he's in his prime.
Here's a question for you guys, if you don't mind me asking. What is your best memory of the Warriors as a 7 seed? Because this is not a position they've been in often. I like the only memory I even have of them as a 7 seed is I think 89, 88. And they pulled off an upset against the Spurs, I think. This is just going off memory. Larry, any memories there? Warriors as a 7 seed? It's random as F.
Yeah.
Ryan? Eric?
No, I agree. I usually think of them as an eighth seed. I can't remember the last time they seeded 7th.
That's a weird one. This whole thing's weird. This whole season's weird. It's this funky season. Larry, no memory of that, huh? 7's weird, right? I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I gotta look it up. I'm back in the days when the Warriors didn't make the playoffs, if they ever got in, it was by the skin of their teeth in the 8 seed. Then they got good, and I don't remember them ever being a 7 seed per se.
There was one in the Run TMC years. I think they had a 7 seed. I'm trying to find this right now. And then do you remember this? And Eric, I don't know if you're old enough to remember remember that era of Warriors basketball, but you're right, Larry. They would barely get in as a 7 seed, or I don't know if it was ever an 8 seed where they pulled off an upset, but they did pull off upsets as a 7 seed. They pulled off upsets as a 6 seed. They were like
Utah.
They beat the Mavericks one time as the 8
that was 2008. Yeah,
that was the We Believe thing, right?
I'm going like way further back. I'm going back like here it is. Okay, so let's see. So in 1989 they went 43-39, and then they made it to the conference semis. I think they upset a Utah that year. I don't know. I'm doing some research, but forgive me for it takes a while.
Here's the question I would have. What are the Warriors? What's like Joe's expectations? Do you think Joe's expectations are that they win it all? Or is his expectations that they win a round? At what point in this thing will the Warriors have exceeded expectations versus fallen short of expectations? You know what I mean? I think we all know they were expected to go to the playoffs, right? Though I didn't think they were going to. I thought they would win 38 games.
Before Jimmy Butler, before the
trading for Jimmy Butler. And then they let's be honest, this has been a weird year. I mean, Golden State was, looking great initially, and then they just shit the bed, and they couldn't look good. They looked really bad going into the trade deadline. Then Dunleavy makes this trade. They're 21-7 since the All-Star break. They finished incredibly fast with Butler. So it's just really hard to say what are your expectations in line with your seeding, or your expectations in line with that fact that you went 21-7 in your final 28? I mean, what deep down, what do you think Joe is going to view as success this year?
I think Joe's expecting to get to the Western Conference Finals. And I think that's where his sight is set, and if you win that, you get in the big one, you got a puncher's chance. But that's where I think Joe's expectations are. Conference Finals. You guys agree?
Yeah, I agree. That sounds fair.
Joe Lacob is the dude wants to win it all. I believe what he says is true. I think he's an authentic individual. I think he wants championship. I think the great question, my follow-up question to that, because this is what I'm even more curious about, is what's his reaction to his head coach telling the public that a player he loves, Kuminga, doesn't fit with the player you just traded for and your franchise superstar? Like, how is he reacting to that? Because I can't imagine he was stoked hearing that. Like, we all know how he feels about his youngsters. And we all know that the Jimmy Butler trade was a blockbuster deal that was awesome. And then the head coach comes out and says, great trade, but the young guy you love doesn't fit with these guys. Something tells me Joe's not happy about that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It's weird though. Sometimes I wonder, it's such a small traveling party. How do they not just talk about every possible thing and just have it all kind of, so they're all on the same page? But there's a lot of pressure that goes with this thing as well. So, when you
Eric,
introduce pressure, anything can happen.
Sorry, I got caught up reading the chat here. Space, I think the gummies might have kicked in here. So that one's on me. That went over my head.
Don't worry about it. Ryan, what do you think, brother? If you heard the question,
Repeat it one more time.
Just what do you think? How does Joe Lacob feel about his head coach saying three of the best players on this roster? I know I'm being subjective saying that, but don't fit together.
Ryan, is there a way you could tilt your screen down so we could get more of your head?
Oh, sorry, like this way. So I think I think right now he still has the full confidence of Kerr. Depending on how high they finish, is going to be sort of where he determines him saying that. Is, you know what I mean? It's like as long as they're still alive and they're still playing, I think Kerr can basically say what he believes, and Lacob will take his word for it. Does that make sense? What do you think?
I think instead of gummies, I like the tablets better. Have you tried those? They're
No.
like these little. Because gummies, you got to brush your teeth after. They might get stuck in your teeth. They sell tablets, like little pills. You just take one pill that's either 25 or 50 milligrams or 10. They have that as well.
9 out of 10 dentists are against gummies.
There you go. Yes, exactly.
Of course.
Take care of your teeth.
Baller's dentist could be the 10th dentist. That's a good way to advertise, by the way. Hey, by the way, join me. I'm the 10th dentist.
Did you get your list, by the way, Larry, of your sponsors? Did you ever did you give your clients?
Yes, I do. And we do have some people in the room, so I probably should mention that before we get out of here. And we're not getting out of here anytime soon, but just, a quick mention. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. So check them out. Love Pig and a Pickle. Damon and Mary, great people. And they got a great product. So go get
When's
some
their next
barbecue.
party? Are you going to have an event there anytime soon?
Krug sent you. We definitely are going to do something. We love going there and having barbecue. It's an amazing restaurant. It really is. It's great. Whether you go to Marin or Emeryville, the barbecue's amazing. Last time I was there, he made us homemade chicken pot pies. They were just absolutely incredible. So
better than Townsend's?
And then, amazing. I don't know about better than Townsend. Townsend, is a good friend. And
his restaurant's just
the chicken pie shop has
the
chicken pie shop. I think has
shop,
lots of chicken pot pies. Also, thanks to Mancini Sleep World for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. If you go to Mancini Sleep World and you type in the code Krug10 at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your mattress just because you know me, Larry Kruger, Krug10, and you'll get 10% off at any Mancini's locations or
which is
online.
a huge deal, by the way, right? We're talking like hundreds of dollars in savings.
Heck, you buy a $5,000 mattress, you're saving 10%. You're saving some good coin. And thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They got 3 locations in Southern Cal. They're in Fresno, they're in Modesto, and they got a brand new location opening soon in the Bay Area. So Claw Daddy Arcades is bringing family-friendly fun to communities across California, and they're a big sponsor of the Krug Show. Follow them on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades and find a location near you. As I said, they've got a brand new location coming in Northern California. We're really excited about that. And Claw Daddy occasionally will jump into the chat. And thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy as well. They're a proud sponsor of the Krug Show, LearnKey Upskill Academy. Great news for Krug Show subs. Our sponsor, LearnKey, is offering a free cybersecurity course valued at $99. The course is titled Protecting Yourself and Your Organization. It's a 1-hour-long course. It will give you essential tips on how to keep you and your company safe from online predators. So this is a limited time offer. You don't want to miss out. Click the link in the description on this live stream and claim your free course and start learning today at upskill.learnkey.com. So thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for being a sponsor of the Krug Show, and thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We're at 57,000 subs.
Damn,
we appreciate
bro.
all you guys.
Wow.
God
That's
damn,
impressive.
man. That's a big number, dude. You're gonna hit if you hit 100,000, they give you like a trophy.
A trophy?
Well, it's like
Well, they give you like a plaque, clear plaque with a play symbol. Yeah.
Do you have one?
No, we've just seen it. We'll have to.
How do you know so much? How do you know so much about it?
Because I know
I've seen people. Yeah, people show them on YouTube. You can look it up.
Have you been eyeing people's trophies?
Yeah. Just that one.
One of the regular guests on Golden Days, Trice High, who makes great NBA documentaries, is a filmmaker covering basketball, and he hit 100,000, and it's like this clear. It looks like a crystal, basically, like just this crystal,
really,
like plaque statue kind of thing.
Right,
you're getting there, man.
Right, what's the street value on that, right?
Good question.
I don't know. That I have no clue. I'm sure it's got some.
I thought maybe you might know.
2
No, do not know that.
No,
and an ounce of weed. I think.
What could I get for it, Rye?
I don't know. You could try to hawk it on eBay, maybe.
Do you know of a pawn shop nearby? I could get something for that.
I do not. I usually
I'll give you $50. You don't understand. This is a rare watch. It tells time underwater. Remember Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places? He's like, in Philadelphia, it's worth $50. He's like, all right. Tells time in 4 countries. All right.
Ryan, who's sponsoring you, brother? And where are you, by the way?
Nobody yet.
We see Chase Center behind you. And
Ryan, could you possibly get centered on the camera there?
What's going on?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I was like a little distracted there for a second. I'm still sitting by my seat. So yeah.
Where are you? Are you at Cheetahs?
No, I'm at Chase Center. I'm just
okay.
see it's.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Anyway, that's behind me.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I heard something about Tabitha to the main stage, and I thought maybe that was.
No.
You've turned me on to a great idea, dude. A strip club right next to Chase Center would be a moneymaker, man.
Moneymaker.
All you got to do is bribe some San Francisco politicians to adjust the zoning laws around Chase.
What you do is you make it free to the players. Drinks are free to the players.
Oh, now we're taking it to another level here, dude. This is we could even do shows from this strip club, like the Krug Show on the side stage. Like the show is blasting while dancers are dancing. That would be fascinating. Sometimes players
instead of pole dancers, wait for it, post dancers. Like Quentin Post. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Yes. I love it.
I mean, come on, I'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses. All drinks $7.95. Welcome to Pandora's Box.
Buffet, right? You got the buffet every Sunday from 12 to 3.
There you go.
Sign me up, man.
Waller's shaking his head. He's like, I have no idea, honey. I didn't know. I didn't know they were going in this direction.
I don't know these guys. I
don't know
just
these
happened.
guys. I'll say this: it was a good live stream until Leong showed up.
Honey, I just took a gummy. I'm just watching this show about the Warriors. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not part of this.
It was all going good until we had our. It was all going smoothly till we got our Warrior correspondent who just took this thing off the rails.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, it's just.
It's all
right.
right.
The numbers have gone up.
Right? It is.
No, right. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't beat yourself up over it by any means.
All right, I won't.
All right, guys. Wait a second. We got something good contribution from the chat. I am become deaf destroyer of words.
Of words, not worlds. Words.
How about this? Right, Cy? What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
It's an unbelievable crowd here at the Chase Center. Neither team, both teams are refusing to go back to the locker room.
I was thinking about like who on this team you would actually spot at the club. I'm gonna guess GP2 will make a visit. You'd probably see Draymond Green in there. Jimmy,
I think
would
Pods
Jimmy Butler be what's up?
Pods is making a cameo.
Pods would 100% be a regular, not just a cameo. He would be.
Did I ever tell you guys my strip club story? That's
no, I'll say no, even if I've heard it. No.
So there's this guy who was in my fraternity in college. We're going to Sac State, and he starts telling us about this girl that he's dating, who's like, she's just the greatest thing ever. I mean, she's like, we started calling her Princess Di because the way he was talking at the time, I think maybe Princess Di might have been still with us, but the way he was talking about this woman, he made it sound like she was just, a prince. He's just the most amazing woman of all time. Incredible. So
maybe she was.
Happened to go to a place called the Embers in Sacramento. And as we're sitting there, I'm like, one of our buddies like, hey man, where's your girlfriend? She's like, oh, she's at work. She's at work.
Do you want to hear the music? I feel like the music's needed for this. No?
Maybe some
nice little ambiance, if you will.
I got something. I got a little ditty for you. I got a little ditty for you. Here you go. Hey.
There we go. Now the mood is set.
Hey now. Welcome to Late Night Jazz. We got to stop.
Come on to the stage, Chastity. Come on down to the stage. Give her some tips. Gentlemen.
Anyway, this guy was telling us endlessly about this girlfriend of his. I was going to marry her and stuff. We're like, bro, calm down. I'm like, how long have you been dating this girl? He's like, dude, it's been 3 weeks, but it's 3 weeks amazing magic and all this, So he's making her sound just awesome, right? Incredible.
Larry, who are you to shit on this romance, man? This sounds
exactly.
Like
That's what I thought too. So I'm saying nothing, and then it happens. We're at the Embers, and the stripper comes out, and it's her. My buddy's girlfriend worked at the Embers.
Did he know she worked there?
And he didn't know. And let's just say this. We gave him a little grief about that.
Of course.
There was a lot of S being talked.
Of course.
And he recognized her, and she recognized him, and she felt bad, and he was like horrified.
Of course.
And she sprinted down a runway that had to be about 50 feet back into the backstage. Everybody else was like, what's going on? My buddy's like devastated in the first row.
Actually, I hate to cut the party short, guys, but I actually have to go move my car. I'll probably get a fat parking ticket from SFMTA, which I don't want to get.
Ryan doesn't like stripper stories, Larry.
I do. I don't like getting a fat ass parking ticket, so I don't want to get one of those.
I've noticed a trend. If we start talking strippers, you always bail.
No, we haven't talked strippers before. It's the first time.
Are you sure?
Yes, positive.
I would know.
I want you to. I want you to say, for the record, for the YouTube crowd, this is the first time you've done a stream where we've talked about strippers.
This is the first time I've done a stream where we talked about strippers.
Yeah, we'll cut that, turn that into a nice little promo.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, you're the man. Thanks for playing
thanks,
along.
Blair. Thanks, Cy.
Thank you,
Nice
Ryan, for
meeting you,
coming
Dave.
on down. Make sure you tip Chastity on the way out.
Hey, Ryan's taking off from Cheetahs, everybody. Let's say goodbye. Every wave goodbye to Ryan.
Bye, guys.
All right, have a good night,
He's
brother.
no longer on the
Thanks,
main
guys.
stage. All right, that was pretty good. Something about Ryan Leong talking about strippers is just epic. I don't know why. Just my sense of humor tonight.
Good stuff.
All right. Good win though for the Warriors. Good win. The playoffs are next. Anyway, should we? Cy, you got a couple thoughts before we wrap it up? We're an hour and 45 into this
I actually
thing.
do, man. I'm glad you asked me that because when the show started, and side note, I'm not in control. A couple people in the chat are like, "Hey, can you bring me on?" We're limited on time. We got a panel tonight. There'll be plenty more episodes of Golden Days to come. The Warriors don't play again until Sunday. I will have a lot of other shows where people can come on and express their thoughts as well. But I will say this. At the start of our show tonight, Larry and Eric, I was I'm trying to find the word, like not pessimistic, but just borderline cynical about the Warriors. I was like, okay, they barely beat a Memphis team that they should have beat the shit out of, and instead they squeaked it out. They barely won. You know, a player that I, on the side note, actually enjoy watching to play, Kuminga. I do enjoy watching him play. He's a fun player to watch. He's being DNP'd now, and you know, I actually think about the future of the team and in addition to the present. So I'm watching a coach just sabotage a lot of smart moves that could help them in the present and future. With all that said, with all the cynicism and with all the even some bitterness, by the end of tonight's show, how long have we been on there? An hour 45. I'm actually feeling a lot better. I look, the Warriors are in the playoffs. That doesn't happen every year. All right. It doesn't happen all the time. And they're actually in now a 7-game series. It is winnable. There incredibly is still time for the head coach to get his head out of his ass and play his third leading scorer, one of his most athletic players. And there's still hope, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm feeling a little better. I'm feeling a little more optimistic about the Golden State Warriors. They did win tonight. The season continues, and I'm sure as shit excited about Sunday. I just hope Kerr plays Kuminga, man. And this is always fun. Thank you.
But you don't think we're going to see Kuminga, huh?
Probably not. Probably not. What do you think? Do you think so? I mean, do you think we'll see him?
Well, I was kind of hoping that we were going to talk about, you know, why he didn't play because of matchups, and that maybe in the matchups in the next round. I mean, the Rockets have some length. The Rockets have some young athletes.
Yes.
You may want to put a young athletic guy with some length out there. I don't know. This is just a crazy thought.
You know,
I don't know. I mean,
I've heard people have told me size is a kind of an important thing in basketball. I've heard. I don't know. I told Rick Perry the other day if he was playing today, he'd be the starting center for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, but he'd probably still go for 40.
Probably.
What did he say about that? By the way,
he laughed and when I first brought the joke up off the air, he was like, "Well, Cy," he goes, "I'm not 6'8" anymore. I'm 6'5". Apparently, he shrunk 3 inches from his heyday. And then my response was, "You'd still be the center." 6'5".
So if you can believe this,
he also called. He recoined my term for Kerr playing the small players. I call it Hobbit ball. He said a better name would be Oompa Loompa ball. So I'm thinking about it.
Back in the day, and I'm talking about the 70s, the Warriors, as like, I think like promotional things to get out the word, you could ask Rick about it, used to play a number of games against, like, they played like the San Ignatius High School faculty. Yeah. Really? And Rick played. I remember people talking about it. Rick played, and supposedly, you know, it's like, it wasn't like he was playing super hard or anything, but he still was like just absolutely lighting it up.
He's competitive as you know.
Yeah,
what.
I mean, he was playing against SI faculty members, and he's.
Did you ever do a game like that? By the way, like in our high school, we did that. We had a 3-on-3 tournament. where the faculty were one of the teams and all the other teams were the students. Did you have something like that or no?
We had some really good faculty at St. Ignatius, where guys who were basketball coaches and guys who had played basketball at SI maybe 5 years, 6, 7 years prior. So there were some really good athlete coaches when I was going there, guys who could play. But yeah, SI used to have the alumni game, and the alumni would, like, the older alumni would play in like an earlier game, and then like the younger alumni, the best alumni, would play against the varsity, at night, in front of a packed gym. But SI had some incredible teams, and sometimes the varsity won, but sometimes the alumni won. The alumni were really good. So yeah, but Rick supposedly at SI came and played against the faculty one time and just dominated them. And it's just like almost didn't let up and just scored a ton and just
that's awesome.
Showed everybody that he was Rick.
Did you see it? Were you there? Or was that?
No. He was probably like 1974, 1975, 76, something like that, mid 70s. You could ask him about it though, because I know you.
I will. 100% will. This, by the way, is the 50th anniversary of the 75 championship team. Time flies. It's crazy. And 10-year anniversary of the first championship of the Warriors dynasty.
It's funny. It's funny you said that, because so I'm born in 1970, and nobody's a sports fan when they're 5, right? I don't know. It's just you're too young. Yeah. But then if your sports is a big part of your life, sports been a big part of my life. I became a big fan, probably right around that age, right? 5, 6, 7. I have an older brother. And the Warriors had just won the title in 75. But it's funny, so I became kind of a Warrior fan after they had just won the title in 76, 77. Rick was leaving for the Rockets, and the Warriors had, World Free, Phil Smith, some of those guys still had played with Rick, but they had Purvis Short, Bernard King, World Free. Those were like my first Warriors, J.B. Carroll. So it's like sometimes when I think about being a Warrior fan, I think of Bernard King, watching, World Free. I mean, these guys were awesome scorers. I mean, these were some of the great scorers of that era. I mean, Bernard King, I don't know if you've ever seen highlights of Bernard King.
Yes. But
Bernard
didn't
King
they also
was an amazing mid-range scorer, deadly on the baseline. And World Be Free was like a 6'3" guard, and he could just score. I mean, he could go for 35 just easy. I mean, he was just an incredible scorer. So, it's funny how, I've been a Warrior fan ever since. And it's like, the team changes. Sometimes they get good, sometimes they get bad. But, real Warrior fans are there up and down. That's why I think this era is going to be interesting post Steph, because it's going to be interesting to see how many people were real Warrior fans as opposed to, this is an amazing, easy to root for superstar. That's a joy to watch every night. Are you still a Warrior fan when they're getting drubbed by 31 and their best player isn't all that great? Well, we're going to find out.
And they lost those players. They lost those players for nothing, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like Bernard King, World Be Free. Like
they traded Michael Ray Richardson to get Bernard King. What happened to Bernard King?
I thought he got traded. I remember reading one time he got traded, and it was like for nothing.
Free. Yeah, I mean, I forget exactly how they lost those players, but they were.
Look at who showed up, by the way. Look who showed up.
Was there a party?
At hour 50 of the show,
Dan
this guy
showed up. Dan's just here to see if the keg's dry. It's like, that one guy always shows up like way late, and he's just got major alcohol problems. He's like, "Hey man, you still got any more of that Natty Light in the keg?" Yeah, Bob. Go get the cups are in the kitchen. Go ahead, fill yourself up. It's kind of flat, but go ahead. All right. He takes off and he gets.
Dan, the lights are on in the bar, dude. Last call was called. Like, what are you doing?
Man,
strippers are gone.
Yeah, seriously.
I didn't know if we were going on, if I was coming on or not. And then I said, well, I didn't find out till like the last minute, and I had already advertised my show, and so I had invited a couple of guests, so I had to. I couldn't think. Hey, sorry guys.
Who are your amazing guests tonight?
Well, I had Frank Red, and I had my brother on.
You stole Frank from us?
So basically,
that's where Frank went.
You stole our show. Are you wondering why you didn't have as many people at your lemonade stand? Because I had a fucking rival lemonade stand down the street.
I know. and I had Lowe's on.
And I took your guess that you introduced me to, and I did it over here. That's just not. That ain't right. That's just not.
I had
right.
Lowe's. I had my brother on. My
look
brother,
at
the
that.
coach.
Look
The
at this.
coach.
He's doing it bigger
So is your
and better
brother
than.
too cool for this show, or are you shielding him from us? Because I remember
No,
the
You
football-
just
I would have come on.
all your
I would have
buddies
come
over
on
to our
this show at
party.
the
You had to have
beginning.
your own party.
I would have come on this show at the beginning because Cy texted me last night, and I'm like, "Oh,
Did you
sure,
guys
I'm
have food?
available." What's
Did
that?
you have food and beverages? I mean, what did you have at this party? Strippers? What was going on at this party?
We had it all. We had it all, Larry.
You had it all. Yeah.
We had it all. Hey, good to see you, Bay Area baller. It's been
Hey,
a
what's
long
up,
time.
Dan?
Good to see you, man.
Oh yeah.
That.
Dan,
Yeah.
what's Barry?
We have area baller
Eric.
in the house.
Eric,
Good job.
Why do you think we got so many people over here?
Larry, can you believe that he just stole
That's just
Frank
wrong.
and started his own show?
That's wrong.
That's
I'm gonna find out when Dan's getting married and get married at the right next door and have a bigger party. Play louder music. Invite all of our dual friends.
What did
and
you guys
insist
talk
that they
about
be
for an
there.
hour 45 before you
we
showed up?
talked a lot about Kuminga.
I bet you those guys had good things to say. Probably. Yeah. I'd love to know
we-
what they were. If they were on our show like they normally are, it would have been nice.
Yeah, we talked
Instead, they
about
were over there. Could you bring us a highlight reel of like what they said
Yeah,
or paraphrase?
I don't know if you guys talked about this. I'm sure you did, but I thought
We talked about a lot of things over here.
I thought
we
the
talked about
bonehead
some-
play of the game that almost cost the Warriors a game was Draymond's foul with 59 seconds left. They're up 6. Just play back and let them shoot. And if they make a 3, take 20 seconds off the clock. And now you're down to like 35 seconds or so with the ball up 3. Probably, they don't score a 3 if you play good defense. Maybe you let them get a 2 and you're up 4, force them to foul. But that changed the entire game. Could have lost it.
Yeah, that was a bad. I think he fouled out after that. Correct.
He
That
did.
was
He did. And Dan is rattled. Yes, rattled.
Dre had a weird, his stat line was bizarre. He had
10
4
assists.
points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. The turnover number at least was good. He only had 1 turnover. That's been a problem for him for a long time. And bizarrely, maybe not bizarrely, I don't know, but he tied with Quentin Post for the team lead in net rating tonight. Both players were a plus 12, which to me indicates his defense was impactful. But yeah.
Fuji
Crazy
Simeon says, boo, SI Wildcats, Larry Reardon for the win. Oh, man. Well, what can I say?
There you
You
go.
win some, you lose some. And we got this one. I don't know if I read it before I put it up there. Billy DeBono. Vegas opened up at minus 250 for the Dubs to win the
Billy
series.
DeBono is part of the band Decades, who's an official sponsor of Golden Days. Go to
you go.
decadesofficial.com if you want to hire them. They're the opening band for every Niners home game. They're at the Red. I forgot the name of the rallies at Great America Next Door. But Decades, thank you for sponsoring Golden Days. Check out decadesofficial.com.
And Billy, tell us where you're gonna have your next show. Dan has a rival band that he'll probably get to play next door right at the same time.
No, he'll hire them, and then he'll call you
hire a
after.
rival band to play like right out front.
Oh my God! So that's Chris. So the
God.
Warriors are minus 250. That again, the bookies, they rely on public sentiment more than anything else. They're
They
not
do.
placing these lines based on what they think is actually going to happen, and the public is going to trust Steph a lot more than Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet. That doesn't reflect reality, but minus 250. Shit. I mean,
Well, the odds are interesting just to come out of the West. It's the Thunder are minus 150. Let me pull it back up here. Yeah, minus 150, and then it's the Lakers plus 600, Warriors plus 700 as a third team coming out of the West, and then it's the Clippers 1,200. They were 1,300 yesterday. I put 30
I'll take
down.
that right now, man.
I took the 30 down for the Clippers to win 400. I think that's the team to.
Yeah,
can you
well, I
repeat
mean,
that one more time?
Why
What's
the
the line?
Clippers? Why the Clippers such long shots?
I don't know.
They
Because
look
the
great.
public, the bookies, the public is not aware. I don't think you gotta actually watch basketball to know the Clippers are really good. And the bookies, from what this sounds like, is they don't respect the public at all. Like, that line will probably change, I'm guessing.
It was 13. It's down to 12. Nuggets are 50 plus 1,500. The T-Wolves are plus 2,000. That's not a bad bet too. If you want to take a gamble, $10 to win 200 on the T-Wolves just to win the West.
Seriously, that's not bad. That wouldn't be bad.
Who do you think? You guys, who do you think wins Clippers Nuggets? That's a hell of a series.
Clippers.
Same. I agree. Dan, do you think?
I
mean,
okay. I think the Nuggets might be, the better overall team, but there's so much turmoil there, and the Clippers are if Kawhi is going to play the way he played against the Warriors, the Clippers are probably going to go to the finals.
Had the Nuggets not fired Mike Malone, I would have said the Nuggets, but just with that happening, I can't pick a team who just fired their coach 4 days ago. I can't do it.
Los D in the chat, though, with a very astute comment. I think he's right, saying that the bookies don't trust Kawhi Leonard to stay healthy for 2 months. It's a good point. Kawhi does not stay healthy that consistently. So maybe that's what it is.
Guys, we're going to call it. We're 2 hours in. It's midnight.
I just got here.
I know you.
In fact, yeah. And, I'm thinking about. Headed over. I got a buddy who lives in a 55 and over community in Arizona.
That is being sold, Larry.
Near Dan, and we're going to go over there and stand outside our house.
You know what I'm going to do, Larry?
Swear about how hot it is, and it's only April.
I'm going to move to the same community that Dan lives in. I'm going to get elected to the HOA board.
There you go.
And then I'm going to make life miserable for him.
I used to have the HOA video in here.
Oh, yeah. You got to pull that up. That was hilarious.
Let's see if I have it. I don't know.
That was
how's your pup doing, by the way, Dan? Is Buster right?
Buster's doing great, man.
Okay.
He's laying over there sleeping right now. But if I bring him in for treats, he'll be right in. I don't have a lot of videos.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I don't want to. Let him sleep.
I had a lot of good videos going there for a while.
Oh, the HOA stuff?
I had Dan with the HOA. And these ladies, there's a hole in the ceiling. They're like, oh, they're looking at the picture, and you hear all these people. Oh. It's kind of like.
And I'm sitting there going,
it's kind of like menopausal.
I can't believe I'm on this board, man. What did I get myself into?
Oh, there are holes. It's going to need texturing. All that kind of stuff. Which is an
I hate HOAs. I know. I hate
epic
them.
HOA. Oh yeah, and if you ever want
to, I'm still waiting for the executive order to come down that bans them. Like, sign me up for that, please.
Oh yeah, that would be great. That would be actually great.
I do have this little doozy video. If you guys remember our good friend Johnny C. Let's go to Johnny. Johnny C.
Let me try, Larry. Okay, so Larry, here's the deal. Larry, honestly, Larry. No, but Larry, I gripe here though, Larry.
And now
Larry. I mean, Larry, but here's the thing, Larry.
What do you think?
I think they're going to sign Jason Peters.
How old is he?
He's 40, but and Larry, much Larry. I mean, Larry, I wish I could, Larry.
Johnny, we're going to have to jump.
Larry.
Is that the guy who went off on Chardal? Somebody sent me some clip of
That's Johnny C from Vegas, who said my name 29 times in like 3 minutes. And
at least he didn't say do your effing homework.
Exactly. We should turn that into a video. Me yelling at Damon.
That one's got to become a classic.
Seriously, I might want to turn that into a video. I've gotten some people like, you're bullying him. It's not good that you're bullying him. I'm like, all right, stop it.
Go Sharks.
Yeah, tell somebody else. Tell somebody who cares. How about that? All right. That's going to do it for us as we finish on a high note.
Larry.
But by the way,
Larry.
one super law of all, Johnny C is the chosen one. Yes, Johnny C is amazing.
Larry.
Yes, Larry. Yes, Larry.
I can see that being a bit, like kind of like Timmy in South Park. The only word he could say is Timmy, except Larry. Larry.
Yada mean says this reminds me of Joe from Impractical Jokers calling for Larry.
Larry.
I love Impractical Jokers, by the way. Do you guys ever watch any Impractical Jokers?
Well, one of the hosts is like in trouble, isn't he? For like,
they did do some, allegedly.
Hey, did you guys not real quick? Lou Marston, who joins my show a lot as a
how'd you meet him, Dan?
Was he on tonight with you while you skipped us, while you were competing with us and bailed on us?
I just want everybody to know that I did not know Dan's wife before Dan married her. There was a rumor going around.
He was down at the Masters this week. Did you guys hear about the mess with StubHub down there?
No, but Lou does a lot of those trips down there.
Yeah, well, evidently the Masters, they call them. You got to have not a ticket, but they call it like a pass or whatever they call it. And evidently that the master says you cannot sell tickets through a third party. So people were selling down their StubHub tickets, and StubHub didn't have the tickets to give to people. And so it was just a complete disaster down there. It was like thousands of people that got turned away that actually flew in thinking they had their tickets waiting for them. And some people were getting busted through undercover cops because they were like, they won tickets.
It's a major fraud situation. Wow.
Yeah.
So any of his clients get dragged through the ringer?
No, all of his clients were good because they didn't. Good. Yeah. Everyone, they had to school their clients on what to say when they were walking in, and everybody was fine, but lots of people. And StubHub, I hear, had to pay over 200% back for what they in refunds.
Let's finish on this note. Thinking on that front, what's the greatest sporting event you've ever been to?
Ooh. Well, when we think about that, baby cakes in the chat, I love the
wait.
Lions.
Wait,
and the Niners
NFC Championship game, Niners Lions. What year?
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Niners made that awesome comeback. I'm going to the bathroom at halftime, and I got these Lions fans right behind me talking like, "Oh man, we got these guys right where they're." And I had to stand through this whole line while these Lions fans are chirping in my ear. And hey, guess who had the last laugh now, Buccos?
That's right. Did you turn around and crack some skulls? No. You shouldn't do that. It's a family show. I'm just joking. I don't advocate that, but how dare you talk trash in the urinal? But yes, You know what? That was a halftime where the Lions could talk trash. I literally was despondent at halftime of that game. I gave the Niners zero chance. I'm like, if they don't turn this thing around immediately, like in the beginning of the third quarter, they got no shot. And then it actually happened. But credit Brock Purdy too, because he made a number of plays with his legs when it really counted. And to me, that's Brock's greatest moment right there so far. So that's ballers. What do you guys, Danny? You've been around on the planet longer than the rest of us.
Easily.
Yeah, it was the Ice Bowl, the New York. It was the Colts and the Packers.
Stop.
No.
My grandpappy had me on his lap, and we were
actually. It's kind of
and then Ruth pointed to center.
Yeah, exactly. Ruth,
and I remember thinking, man, I wonder if he'll hit one out. And on the next pitch,
27 Yankees. I would say. It's been a long time since I could remember a great Bay Area sporting event I was at. So I'll go with the one.
Greatest sporting event ever that you've ever been to.
2009. I'm at the playoffs, the wild card round in Arizona. Cardinals against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is his second year quarterback. It's 2009. The game was unbelievable. It was like a track meet. Packers were down like 45-31. They come back and tie it. And I'm right in the end zone, and the plays are coming right at me to tie it up. It's 45-45. It goes into OT. and I'm at the opposite end zone, and I can't see exactly what happened, but all I hear is this roar of the crowd goes because Rodgers gets sacked, and I'm trying to remember, it was the big defensive end for the Cardinals. You probably remember his name, Larry. I think his last Doc. I can't remember. Started with a no,
Darnell
it's a
Dockett.
Dockett. You got it, Dockett. I knew it was DD. Darnell Dockett. He either sacked him or picked up the ball, and he runs it in for the winning touchdown, 51-45. And it was just the whole game was up and down. It was just it was like, I want to say each team had close to 500 yards of offense. It was nuts. Great game. But I was pulling for the Packers.
Cy, what do you got? What's the greatest sporting event you've ever been to?
You're muted. Oh, we should have not told him again.
Could have told a long
You
story.
could have gotten away with that again. Yeah, that's you could have. 2002 Niners Giants Candlestick. That was the loudest I've ever heard in any moment of my life. I've never been in a louder situation. This was the Jeff Garcia Terrell Owens comeback game.
Oh, what a 39-38 game.
Yes, no pass interference called the end. So it's a tie between that, just because again it was so damn loud, and it was just, and nobody expected the Niners to come back. And then I was there for the We Believe first round upsets, Warriors and Mavericks in 08. And even though we were credentialed, it was one of those rare moments where like you could celebrate, right? Because the Warriors had never been good in a lot of people's lifetimes ever until that point. And so people were going apeshit, and it was a very fun environment. So I'd say I'd go with that. And I want to give Armando Lara in the chat a shout out real fast too, because he got here late. He's a regular Golden Dazer, and his comments are on fire tonight. So I just want to give him props. He is bringing up the fact that Ime Udoka is not going to let the Warriors get away with what they did with Zach Edey tonight, and I wholeheartedly agree. The Rockets are a different beast. That's not going to be an easy series.
Udoka's a good coach, and he's got his team playing pretty good ball.
Yes, he is.
And they believe in him.
Eric
He
answer?
believes
I'm
in
sorry.
them. No, I haven't answered yet.
Oh, Larry, I'm sorry. I knew there was one. Okay.
I've been to so many games. You know, I've been to so many games. Giants, Niners, Warriors.
Aren't you cool?
I've been
How
to
many
so
did you
many
pay for?
games.
How many did you actually pay for?
Well, all of them as a kid, and none of them as a media person.
Did your dad take you? Like, how did you go to so many games as a kid?
Oh, my dad took us. I was also an Orange Crush little giant, so we went to like, went to like 11 Saturday games for like $1 a ticket. We sat in the upper deck, and I went all the time. I went all the time in high school. My buddy in high school had season tickets behind home plate, and he was an only son. It was him and his sister. Sister never wanted to go, so I went with him all the time. And so we went to tons of Giants games, 86, 87. All my high school years, I went to 40, 50 games a year, lots of games.
Did they have the junior 49er minor club back then?
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Okay.
That was like on the milk carton and all the. But yeah, so anyway, I've been to so many different freaking games, and I could just, there's so many I can think of, but the ones that stand out, believe it or not, are actually 2 Warrior games. I was at the Klay Thompson 37-point quarter game against Sacramento. It was a Friday night. I brought my daughter, and Ray Ritter got us. This is when I was in the media. He got us those seats like between the bottom deck and the top deck. And you had the TV with the stats in front of you and the TV. And we sat there at the table, and it was amazing. It was just the roar just kept getting louder and louder and louder. And it was like unbelievable. Just every shot that it was like we were watching a movie. It was
which series? What game did you?
This was Klay Thompson's 37-point quarter against Sacramento.
Okay.
And he just started raining in threes, and he just couldn't miss. And it was just they kept feeding him, and he kept making them, and it was like the place was getting louder, and it was like he could not miss. And every time it was like, whoa, and he shoots again, and whoa, it was unlike any game I've ever been to, as far as it was just so unbelievable. The guy could not miss. He just could not miss. So that one stands out. But the one, if I had to go with one, I happened to be sitting back in the day when the Warriors sucked. The media sat courtside on the baseline, and I was sitting next to, I think, Frank Red. I'm pretty sure You got to ask Frank. But it was.
We would have asked him tonight if he didn't ditch us for.
Yeah, I would have asked him tonight. In fact, we invited him, but he couldn't come. He was on a different channel, kind of an obscure, small channel.
Yeah, Fred.
It's a channel that we're working very hard to get knocked off the air right now. So we're just making some phone calls and we're seeing what can be done. I'm thinking about maybe inviting Los and Borna for a big party coming up here.
Bora, not Borna.
Bora. Well, Bora or Borna. How do you know we were talking about the same guy? Could be somebody totally different. Anyway, so the game that was just amazing. Warriors, Lakers. Kobe and Jameson both went for 51.
Correct.
Ooh, yes.
And I was on the freaking baseline. This is the apex of Kobe Bryant's career. He was absolutely in fuego. His degree of difficulty on the shots that he was taking was off the charts. Turnaround 18-footers in the air, guys draped all over him, corner shots, baseline jams, all kinds of just amazing, absolutely lit it up. And Jameson with all those little flip shots. Remember those little, like,
I do.
He didn't really shoot it like this. He shot it kind of like on the way up, and he just had a million putbacks. He went for 51. Kobe went for 51. The Warriors beat the Lakers. And just to see, I think I really didn't appreciate it till after Kobe was gone. And I realized, man, I was front and center for one of the greatest ever's, maybe one of his greatest performances. Now, I know he had 81 in a game, but he was older. An amazing night to see Kobe Bryant at his just full throttle. There's a lot of Giants games. There's a lot of Niner games.
I got one for you. A little different twist. Worst experience at a sporting event. I was 13 years old. It was November 4th, 1974. I've got tickets to go to the 49ers Rams Monday night game. And I don't have a ride because I'm living in Concord. And my friend is going with his dad. So for some strange reason, he says, we're not going to be sitting together. I got 2 tickets, free tickets for the 49er Minor Club. And they got tickets somewhere regular seats. So he says, I'll drive you, but you got to get a note from your mom giving me permission that I'm not responsible. So I get the note. I'm thinking, come on, not responsible. We're going to Candlestick. So we get in the parking lot. We go different ways. And me and my buddy are, it's like 6:00 start. It's like 5:45 right now. And we're trying to hurry. So I run through the parking lot Candlestick up by those little boxes, those little, it's been a long time, but they just had little things outside. They were kind of like just shacks. They had these little shacks. And I go up and I run past this shack, and all of a sudden I'm accosted by 4 dudes, teenagers that just surround me. And I'm thinking, oh, crud, I'm going to get knifed. What's going to happen? 4 of them, each of them went into my pockets. They pulled out my ticket and $4 I had in cash. And I'm like, I can't get into the game. I have no money. I have no ticket. And I'm 13 years old at Candlestick Park. So I go up to the junior 49er and I'm crying and I'm saying, he just got mugged. And the guy lets me in.
I find it hard to believe that you didn't handle this well.
So, yeah, I get in and, I don't know. I'll get a couple of bucks from something and I get a hot dog or whatever. Because, I was hungry. But that was pretty weird.
You got a couple bucks from somewhere? Did you pick somebody's pocket?
I think my buddy maybe given me a couple bucks. It's been a while. It's 74. This is how many years is that? It's been a long time. But
have you sought counseling for this?
I had to go through many years of counseling for this. Yeah,
Dan, the goal of what we do is to entertain, right? But sorry, by the way, I got to address PR in the chat. I just want to call him out real fast because he accuses me of being biased. And again, I don't know who I'm
Biased,
biased
you?
towards.
Biased.
If you're accusing me of being biased against Steve Kerr, the bias stems from years of observing the guy and coming up with conclusions. There's nothing personal there. But the fact that the guy calls me biased, and the very next post, he uses the word "we" in reference to the Warriors. Right on, brother.
Maybe he just bought a chunk of the Warriors. You don't realize it.
At 12:12 a.m. PR. Dude, we effing won today, but if that's what you think, then be you.
Maybe he has a percentage. Maybe he's invested like
You're right.
900 million just
You're
right
right.
before he typed that.
I just think it's funny to accuse someone of bias.
Or maybe
and then
not. Maybe he's
use
just
the word
talking
we.
big out over his skis on a live stream in the middle of the night. Armando Lara.
Yes.
Yeah, is that right? So I said that. Yeah, Lara. You guys see in last Rockets game, Dylan Brooks and the Rockets playing at Pods defense playoff scouting report coming for Pods. Yeah, well, Pods is going to have to adjust because it's a different level at this time of year, and the defense can be intense, and you're going to have to be smart with the ball, and you're not going to be able to rise up with no idea where you're going to go with it. Jimmy Butler can do it, but Jimmy Butler also gets burned doing that sometimes, and you can't do it. So you better have a play under control and decide what you're going to do, and try to be a little bit more, conservative with your moves, because some of the stuff that he gets away with in the regular season, I can absolutely tell is he's not going to get away with. Dan, teams really play that stifling D.
Yeah, agreed. Dan, who wins we didn't ask you this, and I'm curious, who wins the Warriors-Rockets series?
I think the Warriors win in 6. They win game 1 and take control of the series. They win in 6.
Even if Kuminga doesn't play?
I think Kuminga is going to play against Houston. Okay. My brother was saying, he says he think it would be just insane for Houston with all their athletes to not play Kuminga in this series because they are so athletic. I can understand maybe him not playing in this game tonight because of but against Houston, they're going to need him because they're going to need that rebounding. They're going to need some of his elite athleticism, but that's what I think. I think the Warriors, right. I think this sets up, Cy, very good for the Warriors, and here's why. It was kind of like we're disappointed they lost Sunday, but had they won, they would have faced a rested Lakers team, and we know that they get the whistle, especially in LA, and all of that. And now think about this. Houston's a young team, hasn't played a meaningful game in a week, and by the time the playoffs start, it'll be 2 weeks since they played any game of significance because they clinched the 2nd seed and they started resting their guys. So I think Houston's going to come out a little tight, and they're not a good shooting team anyway. I think they shoot up a lot of – now watch them go shoot 60% from 3 in this game. But okay. I think they're going to be cold to begin with. I think the Warriors can get up on them, and I just think the Warriors, the veterans, can win this series, and it's not going to be easy. They're going to be tight games. They're going to be very tight games, but I just think playoff experience is going to be a huge factor.
I think the Warriors know what they're going to get out of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler. I'm looking at these 4 guys that could swing the series in their favor, and it's Quentin Post with his shooting. It's GP2, who's been knocking down that 3 ball. The last time GP2 was knocking down threes in the playoffs, throughout the playoffs, the Warriors won the championship.
So it's the only other time it happened, but yeah.
is knocking down shots. That's huge. Podziemski, let's get back to that stretch we saw over that 3-4 game where he was averaging, 20 plus a game. And then Moses Moody. Moses Moody's really fallen off a cliff like the last week and a half or so. Mm-hmm. But they're going to need him, man. They're going to need him knocking down open shots. So those are the 4 guys I'm looking at, the X factors. The Warriors are going to go as far as, those guys, aiding Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. We'll take them.
I thought a couple of weeks ago, the Warriors would go as far unless they have to face the Nuggets. But the Warriors are, they had to do it with all the pieces they have, and they're not doing that. So
Correct.
So I personally think they're going to lose this series. I think I'll say Rockets in 7. I think the Warriors are going to play from. I'll say the opposite of Danny. I think they're going to play from behind. I think they're going to fall behind in this series. I think they'll extend it, and I think ultimately the better team, the younger team, the Rockets will get them. I think Rockets in 7.
I love it. Because Larry picked Denver in 22 to the first round, and then the Warriors went on to win it.
And again, I don't.
That's right.
The Warriors would have been rested just as much as the Lakers if they had won that Sunday game. The Warriors have an answer for the free throw merchants of the Lakers. You're referring, I'm guessing, to LeBron and Luka, who get incredibly favorable treatment from the refs. But that's why one of the reasons why you got Jimmy Butler. He does balance that. I would have salivated at a Warriors-Lakers series. The Lakers, they're old, they're slow, they have these two superstars that they rely so much on, one of whom is 40, the other one of whom doesn't play defense. That's the matchup I would have craved. And I'll say it before and I'll say it again. 1, PR, again, thanks for calling me biased as you predict the Warriors in 5. I'm the biased one. And 2, if you don't play Kuminga, you don't win this series. I am incredibly confident in that prediction.
You know what I thought was going to be a topic today, and I guess maybe it is in Memphis. I don't know. I didn't hear too much talk about it, but I thought if it, it's funny how certain moments become high profile and other moments just become forgotten. But I did not love Draymond's foot placement early in the game on the Santi Aldama 3. And when Aldama came down, they've changed that rule. You cannot be in his landing area. He absolutely was in his landing area, and Aldama rolled the ankle. Now, obviously, it wasn't big because Aldama played the rest of the game, but let's just say he had. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that, it's like, sorry, I don't believe it's accidental. I'm sorry. I think Green's competitive. He's going to stretch the boundaries of he knows. I mean, you could see too the way he put go watch that again. I watched it again. He put his leg out there. He knew where Aldama was going to land, and he landed right on top of him. So anyway, it wasn't a big deal because Aldama.
No, but it was an ugly play though. I'm glad you pointed that out, man. I mean, it could have caused an injury. It was
if it had caused an injury, that would have been a major. And then, same situation. If it's let's just say Aldama doesn't get up or whatever, or his injuries, and then all of a sudden, what if it's a bigger series and more people are watching? And it's like that easily could have been in another series, in another scenario, just this huge NBA lore moment. And instead, it was like not that big a deal because he played and he got up, and who knows.
Before we go, by the way, Stephen Curry gave Steve Kerr the game ball for his first play-in victory, even though this was also Stephen Curry's first play-in victory. I didn't know this until I'm seeing it just now. Danny Emmerman posted this on Twitter, and I had no clue. But apparently Steve Kerr, and I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on this. I don't really have much of a thought on it, but Steve Kerr was wearing a Harvard shirt today, and he wore the shirt for political reasons. He's apparently a friend of Harvard's head coach, and Harvard University is in a tiff with President Trump. So Steve Kerr is apparently taking a stand on this, saying that this is me supporting Harvard, and he's calling Trump a bully for the tactics against Harvard. You guys' thoughts? Dan, do you have a thought?
We know Kerr. Danny's muted. We know Kerr. We know his political ideology. We know where he stands, and he feels totally wanting to make these statements. But I think he's also smart enough to know that when he does, he probably hurts his overall popularity. So he's got to kind of balance how much does he want to be outspoken, on politics, and how much does he want to just coach the team. And I'm sure he probably is pulled in both directions at times. Personally, I understand everybody's got political thoughts, and then it's just a matter of, do you want to go talk about them and get into the debate publicly, or do you want to not? And he's opted to. I don't know that it's in his best interest, but you know what? He's a grown man. He makes his own decisions, and I'm sure he's weighed the good and the bad and said, you know what? I want to speak up. So good for him.
Cool.
I don't have any thoughts to share on it, but hey, fellas, I'm so grateful I got to see you guys tonight.
Yeah.
And, hey,
been a while,
I'm
Eric.
gonna head out of
Congrats on the
here.
baby.
Go Dubs.
Oh, you had a baby?
Let's get past these Rockets and really
Congrats.
push the envelope. See how far we can take.
We'll
this
invite
thing.
you again, brother. Good to see you, man.
Catch y'all next time.
Be well.
Well, oh, he left. I was going to say we'll invite you if you don't turn around and host the show afterwards.
He's back.
I was going to say, Eric, happily giving invites if you don't turn around and ghost us as you're hosting your own show, competing against us, stealing our guests the same night. That
I know better than to do that. I know better than that.
Well, it's like, we're having a keg, we're having a party, and there's always somebody who's throwing a rival keg party, but the girls are usually hanging at our place, but we'll see. Anyway, Baller, have a good one, brother. Good to see you, man. And now we probably say goodbye to Danny.
There we go.
Maybe for the last time. No.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah.
And
I had no idea that
he was gone. Oh, look at that.
I had no idea that you guys until like
I'm going to have a party and invite you and have my wife make lumpia.
I had my Giants post game, and then I said we won't be having a show. I'll be over with Cy tonight and Larry, and then I didn't hear back from Cy, and I was like,
I messaged you back. Was it late?
It was late.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It was, and so in the meantime,
you didn't get the offer that you didn't want. The initial offer wasn't there. It's like kind of like the Niners with Greenlaw and free agency. You didn't get the initial offer you were hoping for, and then by the time the best offer came out, you'd already made other plans. You'd moved on to Denver. You'd moved on to other thoughts. You were going to play elsewhere.
Yeah, I just it was eight. I'm looking at the timestamp here. Larry's going to do the show. So ask him for the link. Well, that was at 9:30. And I had said, I had already just put the show out on YouTube. And I'm like, and I had got, a couple of guys come on, and I was like, okay. And then I got your link like a minute right after the game ended. So,
and by the way, if you're watching this live stream and right now you're thinking this is a little awkward, this is a lot. This is a YouTube channel that one time outed a cheater in fantasy football on a live stream.
That was hilarious.
You're not going to name names?
No, we won't name names.
Okay. I know who it is, but I was wondering if you ever.
But we outed a cheater and we confronted him on a live stream, and then the audience ate him alive. It was. G Martinez says Dan's a double booker. Hold on a second. We also have this one. We got this one. This is a good one from T. Keebler. He says Dan was afraid he would get mugged by teenagers on the way to your kegger. There you go.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I just wanted to real quick address one thing here. PR again, who he says he's saying I would have a hate boner. I don't know if I've ever used that term before.
I don't know that is a term. I think that's probably not a term.
Probably not a term, but he's saying I have a hate.
I haven't heard that in a while. I would back to my teenage years. I popped one.
Pretty sure that's not a term.
PR saying I would have a hate boner on Steve Kerr, even if the Warriors win this season. And this is where PR is either brand new to the program or
he's joking.
You're even ignorant. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If the Warriors win the championship this year, I not only will absolve Kerr of criticism moving forward ever again, he will be forever in my good graces. I'm also getting a goddamn Steve Kerr tattoo on my body if the Warriors win a championship this year. So F you with your ignorance. You're wrong on that front. I will say this as well. If the Warriors don't win, which is what I expect because of the rotations, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream. I'm going to do a filibuster.
Wait a second. If the Warriors win, you're getting a Steve Kerr tattoo?
Yeah, I've brought this up before. Yeah.
Where's that going?
Well, yeah, where's that going?
To be determined. We haven't gone that far yet. But
how much?
I'll
give you
how are we
money
gonna
to put it
know?
on your.
We're
I'll
gonna-
give you
it's gonna
money
have
to
to
put
be-
it on your
I'll
face.
show it. I'll show it. It will be I will show it to the audience. It will not be a place that's on my face. I'm not.
I will pay you money if you'll put it on your face.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Well, how much money? How much money? I mean,
It's under
we're
his
talking
beard.
millions.
It'd be like a super chat. It'd be like a super chat or two.
Anyways, but if they don't win, there will be a 20 if YouTube if that's allowed. I don't know if
I
you can
send
do
you
it
a price, you go and get it done. I'm like, hey, the decimal point was in the wrong spot. I just got Steve Kerr's name tattooed on my forehead for $200. Damn it.
Because I do have a bias, but my bias is pro Stephen Curry.
Right.
He's so special. He's such a not just in a generation, once in a lifetime athlete that we are enjoying. He deserves 5 chips, man. That's just my belief.
Chardal in the house. My parents are trying to sleep. Stop speaking loudly. Well, thank you, Chardal.
I do
I'm
think
really
that
surprised that Chardal is not, a man living alone in a penthouse somewhere overlooking the city. Instead, he's living with his parents.
I think if the Warriors lost,
nothing wrong with that. You love your parents; they love you.
And on Friday night, I think they might have fired. Do you think Kerr could have been fired if they didn't make the playoffs?
I think Kerr could still get fired if they lose to the Rockets. I do believe that. And we were talking about this a lot earlier, Dan. Like Joe Lacob has he publicly stated that the James Wiseman thing, which he was never happy with, like he looked at the minutes and he publicly called out the coaching staff for the minutes. And if this happens a second time, 2 lottery picks in a row, and the Warriors are following the Jimmy Butler trade where he's publicly saying that the youngster he loves is not a good fit with the superstar he just traded for. Like something's amiss here. I think we're going to be seeing some changes this offseason. It could also be Kuminga just being traded and that's it. I mean, who knows? But
PR in the house is if you're getting a Steve Kerr tattoo, if the Warriors win, I'm getting a Cyrus tattoo.
How quickly we become friends. Look at that. How quickly.
Now it's starting to get dark. Kenneth says, Cy, get Kerr's face tattooed on the palm of your hand, then hate F it. LMAO. That might be time to go. Mr. Jason, tattoo of Steve Kerr on his butt. LOL. Things have gotten out of hand.
I can hide that, man. It'll be like a shoulder, and it'll be something that I can show off. I'm committed to it.
All right.
That would be that. I kind of just don't even care if the Warriors. I want them to win, but now I really want them to win. I want to see this.
Me too.
I want to see this.
It'll be worth it.
Who's Kerr's replacement if he's fired?
Stay tuned. Dogwild.substack.com. That story's going to come out tomorrow. I'm going to list 5 ideal replacements. I'll give you 2 names right now. But there's going to be 5 in the article that comes out tomorrow. Brent Barry, current assistant coach with the Phoenix Suns, and Mike Brown. There's 2 right there. But I'm going to give you 5.
That's a story about my brother's actually really good friends with Brent. Very close.
He's a good dude. He's a smart dude. Very similar path as Steve Kerr, except that Kerr never became an assistant first. But I would love Brent Barry, man.
In fact, Brent invited him down to Phoenix for a practice.
Good for him. Year. Did he go?
Yeah. He never did come down. He didn't want to see me.
You're kidding, right? You're bullshit.
No, he didn't end up making it. But no, Brent and my brother's real close with all 4 of the Barry boys. He coached him at De La Salle.
And I got one name for you. Gary St. Jean.
He's going to be a guest of the show this week, I believe.
Saint.
I'm working
Get Saint back in there. We'll go old school.
Wow.
And he could have Mike Montgomery as his kid assistant, and the two kids can take over. All right, that's going to do it for us. Still hanging out on a late night here. Hope everybody's enjoying the live stream. But that's going to do it. Sai, you got anything you want to add before we pull the rip cord?
Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Pacific time, Larry, your favorite YouTuber, your favorite podcaster, our partner in crime, Damon Bruce, and I, Warriors Weekly, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you, everybody, as always.
That's a lot of subs. All right, and and as far as
How much does that cost? I'm just curious. How much does it cost to buy subs on YouTube?
That's what I was wondering, man. I want to go from, I want to grow 15,000 in a month or two.
Why 15? Why not? Why stop there? Why not 35,000? Why not 50,000? I mean, if it's for sale, shit. I mean, I'm curious how much.
I don't know if your advertisers catch on to that. The views you're not getting any more views.
Well, and that's where it gets a little sussy, right, Dan? Where someone has like a shitload of subs, but then you look at the views and it's like something doesn't add up here.
I got 4,900 subs, and my views are right there with the 40,000.
Congratulations, man!
Look at that. All right, tomorrow I will be streaming with Ryan Hensley, if you can believe that.
Whoa!
That's your former rival, right?
Hensley has invited me into the Hens lair. And so me and the Hens tomorrow at 11 a.m. be there. No, I have no. No, I am going to be there. But we're no.
I think it'll be cordial.
It'll be cordial. Be cordial. We're just going to talk draft. We haven't talked in a while. And so
real quick, Larry, just because I'm so out of the loop when it comes to all the Niners stuff, and so Ryan Hensley's a YouTuber who for a little while was talking a lot of shit. And then you two made peace, is that right? And then now everything's copacetic.
I usually, even when I block people, I usually let them back eventually.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm open-minded.
I'm not. I don't block like Kawakami. My blocks are. I'm more of a seasonal blocker. At the end of the season, you know what? Let's all get back in the pool and insult each other once again.
But who is Ryan Hensley?
If you show me another time, you show me the second time that you're. Can't communicate like an adult or whatever, I'll block you again, but I'll let you back again. It's an endless series of, I've had people call me and text me, say, hey man, 3 years ago, you blocked me and wasn't sure why. And I researched it. I'm like, all right. You're scaring me. Then I'll just be like, what's your thing? I'll unblock you. I tell Kev every 6 months, all right, go unblock everybody that I blocked.
It's a purge. Just purge the system.
Purge the system. I look at it as, you know what? We got new pricks.
Fresh start.
Listen.
Yeah, there you go.
And if they prove themselves to be jerks, then you know what? They'll be blocked once again.
I had a guy questioning my character last night on another channel. I'm watching it and I'm going, my name's popping up.
Of course. Who wouldn't question your character? You talk about the Giants. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you talk about sports for a living. Let's get right to the man's character. Anyway, let's get out of here. Have a great night. Tomorrow I'll be on with Ryan Hensley at 11. Cy will be on with Damon at 11. That's a lot of subs. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.